Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out Spock. Spock, where are your damn pants? I can't do this with your pon farr hanging there like that. Greetings and welcome once again to Solving the World's Problems. I am your host, Roman of the Empire. Tonight, the problem we are looking at is, what do you do with the genetically engineered world conqueror from the 1990s? Apparently, you abandoned him on Ceti Alpha V so he can try to take over the galaxy later. Fine. With me tonight is Shieldwall of Dragons. Good to see you, sir.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
The unbearable 73. Matt, how you doing, brother?
Greetings.
One of the great minds of the interwebs, it is Daniel. How are you tonight, sir?
Roman, I am very well. It's my terrible Kirk.
It was fine.
We should all talk in Kirk speak for the entire show.
There's something on the wing.
No viewers left. Brandon, the anime guy, what is shaking?
Well, what's shaking is the needs of the many outweighing the needs of the few, or the one.
Nerdporeal. He's going to ignore me most of the night because I'm going to call him the wrong name, and that's okay. It's all
The
right.
Admiral.
How are you doing, pal?
You didn't expect to find me. You thought this was Ceti Alpha V. Why am I here?
Corporeal!
Just get ready for that for most of the evening, folks. And I didn't think she was going to make it because she scared me with a post earlier. It is our good friend, Mags. How are you? And thank you for being on stream. This is your first time on our show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Roman, for having me. I was kind of just a teensy bit late because I was like, oh, crap, I should show this on screen. But this is the VHS version of The Wrath of Khan.
I had that one too.
Yep.
That's the beautiful one.
That's the 90s one.
Look at that nerd cred.
Yep.
Wow.
Nerdporeal
Look at that.
cred.
Look at that. I mean,
Wow.
doesn't that bring you back memories?
It was looking at those box
Very
sets
nice.
that got me into Star Trek, believe it or not. I looked at 2 and I looked at 3 and I was like, holy crap.
Wow.
That character actually dies.
Yep.
A main charter actually dies.
So-
That's what got me into Star Trek in the first place. That's
And
where
it looks like
where
it's still
started.
intact.
Wow.
Dear Lord.
It's actually round. It's perfect.
Is that as well used as your Narnia books?
Yeah, the box. Let's see here. The box is it's in pretty decent shape, but who knows what the VHS is? Because we don't have a VHS, VCR or whatever.
I have to ask, Mags, do you have Space Seed, the 90s VHS of Space Seed?
No,
the
I
blue
don't.
tape.
No, I don't. I did watch it today on Amazon. I watched that, and then I watched this movie, so that way I can kind of get because I knew, like, I've watched it like enough times, but it's kind of like, all right, I need to make sure to have a refresher on this one. But anyway, go ahead.
They have
I'm
it
sorry,
on Amazon.
Roman.
I thought it was all on Paramount Plus now.
No, Amazon. They have it through methods.
Right.
Let's just say.
I watched Wrath of Khan on HBO.
Ooh.
Oh.
I was gonna say I've got my 90th anniversary of Paramount Collector's Edition DVD ROM sitting right here.
Oh.
Let me blow you up here.
Oh, there we go. And it's the director's cut, the good version.
Which is
Ooh.
different. There are noticeable differences in that one, and I always get confused every time I watch it because I'd seen the other one so many times. I'm like, that's different.
So the
And
director's cut is better?
My son always reminds me, Dad, this is the one we've seen all the time. And I'm like, no, son, it was on many years before you were alive.
Yeah, the big difference big difference with that one is the extra footage of especially Scotty's nephew.
Yeah. He's actually his nephew as opposed to just another red shirt just there to be blown up in the engineering section.
And
Yeah.
the only hint in this, because I only watched the version that I was always familiar with, because I was like, there's a director's cut. I didn't realize that because I don't know all the trivia, but I watched.
There's also a Star Trek 6 one as well. Director's cut.
So but there is a little teensy bit of a little hint at the end when he goes I, and it's like, okay, when the nephew dies, but
Yeah.
And you get some like weird kind of more rando hallway shots. I don't know if they necessarily bring a lot more. The Scotty stuff was important. A lot of the other stuff was kind of, I'm not sure if it is or not. But so I'd like to do first is try to devote the first chunk of the show to Space Seed, and then Wrath of Khan following that. Because Space Seed is I mean, that's one of those quintessential episodes that every Star Trek fan is aware of. I remember when Wrath of Khan was coming to the theaters back in the day, WPIX in New York, which was the channel we watched back then, was showing Space Seed again and again so people could get reacquainted with it. Well, so that's probably when I saw it first, because I was
WPX or Channel 11. I would say they aired Star Trek probably like 2 times a day the entirety of my youth minimum. And that's only because I wasn't up at 3 a.m. when it probably showed all night. That and Monster Movies were their highest rated shows. That and Kung Fu films. But I'm not
surprised.
Yeah.
So
and reruns of The Odd Couple. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
They played the fuck out of The Odd Couple.
Yeah.
So Space Seed, season 1, episode 22, original air date February 16th, 1967.
It's technically episode 23, but they incorrectly listed as production number 24. And the original the VHS that I own said episode 24 on the box.
Really?
Yeah. So what's funny is they swapped. They got the Taste of Armageddon and Space Seed listed in the wrong. They mistaken the numbers. So when I got the VHS, I actually own Taste of Armageddon as well. That was listed as episode 23, production order wise. But according to what I'm reading here, that was actually production episode 24, and Space Seed was actually episode 23. So
okay. Why do I have 20? Who knows? Who knows in the Trek world why things are the way they are? They probably included the pilot as one, maybe for who knows? Who knows why?
Do you want to hear? Sorry, Roman. Do you want to hear the NBC press release from January 26, 1967 regarding this episode? I'll do my best to sound like a NBC guy. Ricardo Montalban guest stars as the survivor of a tyrannical super race in Space Seed, a drama in which Captain Kirk and his crew are unwitting accomplices to an attempt to seize world power on NBC television network's color cast of Star Trek. Found aboard an ancient and foundering cargo vessel with his body in a state of suspended animation, Khan is allowed to convalesce on the USS Enterprise. Suspicious of Khan's true identity, Kirk and Mr. Spock soon determine their patient is one of a group of scientifically bred super beings bent on world domination, and put him under guard. With the aid of a sympathetic crew member, Marla, who has fallen in love with him, Khan escapes, wrests command of the Enterprise, and threatens the entire ship's complement with execution.
Which is a great scene, and we will get to that. That's in color cast. That's hilarious, but that's the way it was back in the day. Not everything was in color. So we have Enterprise coming across USS Botany Bay, and I forget what the class of ship was. Kirk thought it was
DY-100.
I guess Kirk thought it was the DY-300 class, and Spock corrects him.
Yeah, DY-500, and then he corrects them DY-100. I've seen the episode 1,000 times, so excuse me if I correct you to your annoyance.
Kirk recognizes.
Oh, very well, Mr. Spock.
So that prop there for the ship, the Khan ship, they reused that, I think, for 1 or 2 more episodes of Star Trek and other stuff lately, because it was so expensive to make that they didn't want to just use it and get rid of it.
You know what's funny is I read about the design. This was designed by Matt Jeffries. This was actually designed before the Enterprise. So this was just an idea that he came across. It was originally just a freighter, just a random freighter that he designed. And so they just took that idea and they built it for this episode. So that's one thing I love about, one thing about the original series was it had such a low budget. So when they encountered ships, you rarely ever saw the other, you rarely ever saw the other ships. So when you see this ship, it's very impactful. I mean, like, this is a big deal. Like this episode went over budget because of that ship and this set right here, the inside, the interior.
Phenomenal. And I love that you got kind of a walk around this set before they beamed in. The camera pans around. You don't come in right here. You come in the ship and you get to walk around just a little bit and get a tour before they beam in. And Uhura's picking up, the faint life forms. They don't know if it's an alien ship or not. They don't think it's human because the heartbeats are too slow. And then they figure out what class of ship it is. And I like that Kirk doesn't know who the historian is because he finds her of so little use. He doesn't really know her name. He calls her McGivers. She's late to the fucking beam out party, and he's already annoyed with her when this mission starts. She gets distracted. Like she's obviously they're really trying to set up her attraction to Khan right away. And when Kirk is asking her a question, I've never been in the Navy. Roman, you've been in the Navy. When a captain, asks you a question, you got to respond right away. And she is just lost. Yeah. Lieutenant.
Like
the leader, Lieutenant.
I wonder, because I haven't read about it, but I wonder if the director said, look, we want, like, there's a mystery who Khan is that they have to investigate through the show, but I want you to portray it like you know who he is. Like when you recognize him, when you see him, and it's some sort of historical infatuation or whatever type of thing. I wonder if he told her that, because the way she reacts in the first moment the character sees Khan is very interesting. It's not just she thinks he's hot looking. You know what I mean?
I think she's
fascinated. She's fascinated because she recognizes that they are from the past, and she is obsessed with people, especially men of power from the past, but the 20th century. So I think her role it makes a lot of sense. They obviously made her infatuated as well. And I like that Kirk right away can spot her.
He does. He looks just irritated fucking right off the bat. Yeah. It's like, okay, good.
But I read that as Kirk actually has very good command skill. Like he's not just a man of action. He's a good captain in that he can read people very well.
He's Kirk, so he sees women react that way to him all the time.
That's a true story.
That's the running joke about Kirk, but he's not like that in every single episode. It's like that's kind of like the way he's painted, but he doesn't act that way at all in this episode.
No, and I mean, like originally when the episode was when the original draft went in by the original, screenwriter, like he barely had a role in this. They had to really rewrite it so that he had a role, and there was also times where he was too like not captain like, which is one of my biggest criticisms of the stuff that comes out now that calls itself Star Trek. So but back then in the 60s they were very, very hyper aware of that, and they wanted to make sure Kirk still had a command presence in this episode.
Had to be, because most of the people that were watching this show in the 60s, if they were over the age of 18, had already been in the military if they were male. A good portion of them. So they would have flamed the show for sure. Mm-hmm. Now they can get away with it because most people haven't been.
That's a good point. That's another thing that's very recognizable is the military structure of the ship, especially
the thing is,
McCoy.
With the modern show, they chase all the fans who care about it. You know what I mean? Like the people who are actually watching it are either like, I'm not going to say they're bad people or whatever, but they're a narrow audience that favors that particular type of content, right? So the larger audience, because for everyone who complains about something legitimately, illegitimately, that's like a 1 in 100 type of thing. You know what I mean? Even if something is known to be bad, only like 1 in 100 people ever complain about it. But there's so few people watching this modern Trek that and you're not going to get the complaints other than someone who's forcing himself to watch it, like Conporial over there. You know,
I don't know who that is.
What I liked about this scene is the things that go wrong. I mean, Khan's unit malfunctions. His unit malfunctions had to be a better way to say that. His sleeper unit malfunctions, and he starts to die. And they're not, he's not sure about bringing him out, initially. And then Bones is like, if we don't bring him out, he'll die in seconds. And so Kirk smashes the window, which I don't know if that was necessarily the best way to do this. But
he breaks the glass, and like there was a point in one of the earlier drafts where they were questioning. They were questioning whether they should make the decision, or he needs to wait for permission from Starfleet Command. And like the producers, like Roddenberry's like, dude, just no. Kirk can do this. Kirk can make that decision.
Yes.
So
that was a good decision in the moment, in retrospect, obviously not.
Yeah.
But he does tend to, in this episode, and we'll talk about this, he makes a series of bad decisions. But I will say this is one of the best acted episodes by William Shatner. But in my opinion.
I agree.
I like how in this episode it's a battle of, here's is basically a superhuman, and of course Captain Kirk, he's not, so he has to do a battle of wills in terms of figuring out what who this person is first of all, and of course he lets him speak, lets him kind of reveal himself in a way.
Yes.
And then also he eventually, without even asking questions, allows Khan to reveal his plans at the same time. And it's really brilliant in the juxtaposition of the characters themselves. Here is Khan, who's superhuman in strength and in intellect and everything else, and anything else that you can think about. But that also means he's got a really big ego. So, and he can't help himself.
You nailed it.
Oh, yeah, no, hubris.
Mm-hmm.
That's the highlight of this.
And not only that, but Captain Kirk also has an ego himself.
He does, which is also this.
Yeah,
he has his own hubris, but
and I'm sorry, my cat might be showing herself a little bit.
Key. Oh, let me see the kitty. I gotta see the kitty.
Euphemism, but then it wasn't, and I was okay.
Oh, cats are so much fun. Pets are so much fun. But Kirk has his own hubris, but unlike Khan, he doesn't let it run him.
Mm-hmm.
He plays it again in Wrath of Khan, though. And when we finally get there, he just fucking pokes him that much, and it does what it needs him to do. In this one, this scene I just love though, because Khan comes out, he doesn't. It's not a clean scene for Khan. He's struggling. He's very much struggling. And Ricardo Montalban played it so well, and he's just mouthing, how long? And then that exchange of how long have you been asleep? 2 centuries. And then on board the ship.
I love this scene. Do you know what his age at this point? He's 47 years old. That's how old.
Really?
That's how old I am.
1920.
I'm his age.
He looks great.
I wish I could look like this guy.
He was 61 when he filmed Wrath of Khan, and he still had that same. He still had. I don't know if he's as big as he was in this, or he's bigger.
He was physically in Khan, at least in the upper pectoral region. He was built more, or at least it made it look like he was built more. But then again,
if you've seen him in the outfit, if you've seen him when he's wearing the red, Starfleet outfit, like his chest is sticking out to the point where like it's hanging from him. The shirt,
that's really hot, y'all. Just FYI, to all the guys out there.
You're talking about later
it is Ricardo Montalban.
Well, and he never lost a bit of his bravado from here to there. Perfect.
And what's really neat, interesting bit of trivia. He's actually a side character in the movie Battleground. That's an old classic film of the Battle of Bastogne. So.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. It's got Van Johnson in it too. So It's a really good movie. So check that out. You'll see Ricardo Montalban in there.
Wow.
There's
Battle of Bastogne, which also a terrible, terrible battle in the winter. Fucking horrible. Bad.
It's a really
if you've seen Band of Brothers, you've seen the Battle of Bastogne from that perspective. And no, Ricardo Montalban was not in that. So moving through the episode, he's in sick bay. He hears them talking, and then he pretends to be asleep again. Then he sees the on the wall. There's these Bones has some old medical tools, and he grabs a knife or a cutting tool. It's not a scalpel. I don't exactly know what it is. And then we get here, and Bones delivers the great line: "Either choke me or cut my throat. Make up your mind." And they have a great exchange here. Where Khan's like, "I like a brave man," and then he just kind of settles in. "Bring me your captain. I have questions."
Yeah, he actually goes further than that. He literally tells Khan like where to cut him. Like, it'd be most effective if you cut the carotid artery just
under the left ear. It's most efficient.
Yes. So I one thing I love about DeForest Kelley's McCoy is like he's not cowardly. Like the way they portray him in the Abrams films,
balls this big.
Yeah, in the Abrams films, they portray him as a coward, at least in my opinion, more so than here. So, yeah, like the bad. McCoy's a Chad, just like the rest of them. So, seriously.
And not only that, but I love the fact that he, here's this guy that's about ready to, literally kill him, cut his throat and everything, choke him or something like that, and he's got the balls to say to like, face off with him without even doing anything. It's another battle of wills. So you get to see this interesting contrast in that here's, of course, Bones, Dr. Bones, he doesn't have the ego like Captain Kirk, and he knows how to say the right things to be able to back Khan off. And even at the end, Khan says, "I like you." Because he respects his
Bones,
his courage.
"I was just trying to avoid an argument."
I know.
Yeah,
one of the
issues now is we get those type of lines like "I like you" for no reason. Like writers just put it in just to put it in.
That's the writer
there's no setup for that.
That's the writer just telling the audience, "You need to like my character." That's all
Mm-hmm.
that is.
There's
they are so strong.
There's a degree of truth, by the way, to the way McCoy reacts. I didn't know this until my current career in healthcare IT, working with a lot of doctors and nurses. But oftentimes you're standing there and a patient starts screaming horrible things at you, grabs you, throws a swing at you because they're in the middle of delusions or whatever. And the doctors just react like, this is part of the day. They deal with it. They stay focused. And I wonder if back then someone writing it said McCoy would stay calm and focused, not go crazy when he gets grabbed by a patient. Like someone in the medical field, was aware of that.
That's very true. They especially in the ER deal with psychopaths and drugged up crazies all the time.
Well, even regular people, you come out of anesthesia and you don't know what's going on, or you just suffered a trauma and you wake up. Like I woke up after a coma in 2 days and I was having mild delusions, but I was calm about it. And the doctor walked in and was talking to me calmly about it. He said, "Oh, that's a known thing. You've been in a coma. You're in ICU," and it reassured me. You know what I mean? But that's a known sort of thing. And you see a lot in Star Trek, the original series especially, and in some other shows in that era. I always wonder if the writers have way more connection to real life than a lot of modern writers do.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of them served in the war. Almost all of them served in the war, World War II.
True.
Oh yeah, I get that. What I'm saying is but not just that they have their own life experiences, but like a lot of times you see writers now say the stupidest stuff, and you're like, does this guy live like in an isolation bubble where after he graduated college, he never was around anyone other than these 5 people in the writing room?
Education, I'm guessing education was better back then. They taught more practical things too.
Yeah.
But
absolutely, it was.
The thing is, you need to think about too. Here's this guy who, at the, he just woke up from sleeping for 2 centuries, and this is a great reaction too for both of their characters. For one, Khan has no idea where he is, so he's going to be feeling a little slightly threatened and not knowing, feeling. Not knowing where he is in that regard. And then you have the doctor who of course he knows this as well, and he's going to have to challenge him in such a way of, hey, it's a very interesting concept. So I think the scene was well done in terms of capturing all of that.
Knows who he is, but he doesn't know if anybody else knows who he is. So he's worried about that. From his perspective, he's like, oh, fuck.
Exactly.
And
you're waking up in a he said, you speak English, and he's like, yes.
I thought I dreamed it.
Yeah, exactly. So can you imagine waking up after 200 years?
And hear another language.
Yeah.
And Kirk's pimping him for information here. And Khan pulls the, I grow fatigued of this interrogation. Can we continue this later? And
can I use that line at work?
Yes. You
have it?
Why would you not? I grow fatigued of this employment. And then Kirk, and so Khan gets tired. McCoy's like, well, tomorrow might be better, Jim. And then Kirk gives him access to the entire tech manuals of the ship. Like it's silly. Fine. Like that's just a normal thing to do. That's not a normal thing to do. That's literally one of the last things he should have done. Courtesy provided to all of our patients. Your usual patients are Starfleet.
Before he does that, the interaction between the two of them is one of the best parts of this episode, because that battle of wills, and they immediately size each other up as alpha leaders. And it's this battle between giving as little information as possible on both sides, and Khan refusing to give him anything valuable, and Kirk telling him that they're going to a starbase, which he knows is completely useless information to Khan. But you're right.
Yeah. And Khan demands that he wakes up the rest of his crew.
Yes, and Kirk says no, and then instantly, I look at their smirks at each other. They both know. Okay, I know that you're kind of a threat. We both understand that, and we're putting each other in their place. And then Kirk follows it up with that boneheaded thing of giving him access, which kind of ruins.
At this point, Kirk was trying to. At this point, Kirk was simply trying to be polite, and
that was
like they weren't. Khan was, was trying to hide his identity, that he's, actually, a ruthless Hitler-like dictator. Spoiler alert. But at this point, okay, so I figure, Roman, you were in the military. You'd be right about not giving a stranger who you don't know what his intentions are, access to military. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say a dirty word, because people, the Roddenberry, Uhura, Nichelle Nichols, they objected to hearing that Starfleet was part of the military, but it is. It pretty much is.
It is. Yes.
So here, I think, what was he asking? So he was asking. Khan inquired about his people. He's like, they'll be. He asked first, where are we heading? And he's like, we're going to Starbase 12. And he's like, you're going to revive my people. He's like, yeah, once we get there. So
I have 2 points on this. One, in continuity, so to speak, I don't think Kirk got that Khan could catch up on 200 years of knowledge in like an hour. You know what I mean? So,
no.
I think the smile was like, okay, sure, here's the ship's computer. He'll show you how it works.
Still.
I'm getting there.
You're still giving him access.
Roman, I'm getting there. Okay, I'm getting there.
All right, damn you.
But the look on Kirk's face said, yeah, sure. It's like if I gave my little 4-year-old. I have a nephew who's like 4 now. Gave him my server and said, here's the server. It'll play Minecraft. Sure. I mean, out of continuity, I've read over the years, the writers at the time, they saw this as normal because they were depicting this as like open information, like no more military secrets type of stuff. There's a lot of conflicting, if you watch Star Trek to TOS, between different writers. Some have a very militaristic view of Starfleet. You know what I mean? Like rigid order and all that. Others, like especially with the ending of this, have a more utopian viewpoint with how it worked out. And as you watch it over the years repeatedly, obviously, you can see the sort of breakdown, and it's almost like it's 6 different shows in one. You know what I mean? So I get it's a stupid scene from letting him have access to it. I understand in show why they were doing it. But in no way could he have expected Khan to figure out how to work the damn ship in an hour.
I think they could have fixed this very easily. Not that this is not a huge error or anything, but they could have fixed this very easily with Kirk just saying, "Oh, you can have library access, not ship access," and then he just gets the access from McIver's.
And he had Spock monitoring what he looked at. I pointed
yes,
right.
Spock knows everything he read. He went through our entire technical manual already. It's okay.
And the time for Kirk to get to the bridge, Khan like, oh.
Is this? Could this be possibly? I mean, this might be a dumb question, and I'm just throwing this out there. Could this just be when first of all, because I hadn't seen this show in a long time, but when he was giving him the ship manuals, I'm like, wait, red flag. Why are you doing this? Why are you even doing this to anybody who comes on board that comes in through sickbay and wakes up? I mean, you don't know who he is.
He wouldn't give them to a Klingon.
Exactly.
He wouldn't give them to a Romulan.
Exactly. And it's just, and they don't know who he is. That's a red flag right there. But I'm like, but then they have on the bridge, of course, Spock is, keeping an eye on what he's looking at. I'm like, was that just done on purpose? Because if it's done on purpose, it's still stupid. But
it's a giant error.
I mean, a giant error. And I'm like, if you're doing this to try to figure out who he is and what he is, this is not the right direction to do it. So that was really weird.
Errors
yeah, that was a really weird decision on his part.
They should have had. They should have had this lady that's in love with him.
Did Brandon drop out?
Stuff.
Oh, yeah. Brandon's trying to share something. What are you trying to share, Brandon? Hang on, let me.
Go. I'm good for a moment. I've just a few little things I found, but yeah, go ahead, Shieldwall. Go ahead.
I was saying that how they could have done it was the historian that has the hots for him, that she should have given him the manuals, access to the manuals.
That would have made
then her betrayal would have been complete.
I would have done something a little different. I would have had it where he gives him only restricted access to certain things, and Khan uses genius to figure something out.
That too. That would have worked easily as well. Also, it would have showed exactly how smart he is.
Yeah, and not only that, but he can continue to seduce her and confuse her in which loyalty she
he treats her like shit too.
Yep.
Yeah, this is where the show. This is where we see the male chauvinism right here. So he literally says, "Why do you wear your hair in such an uncomplimentary?"
Yes, and he actually fucks with her hair.
Yes, and she lets him do, and she lets him do it too, right here.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
I like these scenes.
Oh, Daniel, really?
I do. I don't agree with the whole male chauvinist nonsense. This is Khan being a dominant man.
And this is Khan being Khan.
This is very important to his character and who he is. He is a world leader. This is not just some guy with megalomaniacal.
He's got charm.
It's funny. You want to hear something funny about this? What's funny is this was Roddenberry left this. Roddenberry rewrote this and left and put this stuff in, and people like Bob Justman tried to question that. And he's like, I think we should do another rewrite. And Roddenberry didn't. Roddenberry ghosted him and kept this in. That's how they filmed this.
I think Roddenberry knows what he's doing. This
Roddenberry knows Khan's supposed to be the bad guy. He's not supposed to be depicted.
Khan is essentially dominating her and turning her into his minion. And this is all part of that. This
is a lovesick puppet, basically.
He recognized, as soon as he interacted with her, she had something going on for him.
Yes.
And
he knew it, and he knew it too.
I just picked up on it and ran with it.
And this is a very primal thing, and Khan is a primal guy, and he's basically saying, look, we get that scene later in the room when he tells her to go or stay, but he's immediately sizing this up, and
he's
move too.
And he's saying, exactly, that's what he's doing.
Go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
But he does legitimately find her attractive.
He does.
Doing his power.
He's being true to his character. He's not doing this just to
screw her. He's like, this is my woman. I found her.
Exactly.
I'm going to take her away from Kirk. That's what he's doing right now.
It kind of makes you wonder, though. Did he? I'm curious if he had a woman on the Botany Bay, because apparently he had kids. He had descendants, according to the stuff that comes out now.
I don't think he probably had time. I mean, Botany Bay, they were asleep when they got on.
Yeah, they were.
As far as they know.
As soon as they were put on the ship, because Botany Bay is meant to be, this is a prison sentence, basically. They were put into you guys will correct me, stasis.
Cryosleep.
cryostasis sleep, and there were women on board because when they all woke up, well, he got them, woke them up. There were women on board, but they've been asleep for 200 years ever since they left Earth. So yeah, there wouldn't have been any kind of time. But you would think on Earth maybe, but then again, he was too busy conquering the world. So
or maybe
I want that outfit. Conquering the women.
I want that outfit. I just want to go to a party one day, wear this outfit, have like my entire chest open, bare and open like that, and just walk around like a total.
If I were that
total Chad,
if I were as built as he is, so to speak, I would wear that like nothing. I'd be walking into like work meetings and stuff.
Hey, Conporial, you should wear that and put that picture up on Twitter.
I need
you should do it for Valentine's Day. That would be you could do a charity stream.
No, I'm gonna have to get a wig now because I don't have that. I don't have that mane that he has. I'll have to get a wig.
Well, I don't know, Admiral. What do you think, Doctor? Well, I think that he could pull it off. Really? Yes, really. Why do you say that? Well, because he's the Admiral and he can do whatever he wants. Isn't that right? Yes, it is.
I agree.
Ricardo,
that would be. I think if anybody could pull it off, it'd be you. It'd be you, Brian. You could do it. I couldn't do it.
I think we're all in agreement. So, hey, are you, Brandon? Are you ready to bring up? Do you want to bring up your?
Yes, just a little something that I found. Just doing a quick perusing. A nice little art piece that somebody made. That is
nice.
Khan.
I do like that.
Yeah. Khan basically just ruling the world or attempting, the space seed. But then we have the second part to it, which is the rest of it. The date of the episode, the star date, the year.
That's beautiful.
Of course, the Doctor. Yeah, I like this. I like this art style. It's
yeah, me too.
Someone on Deviant, I think on DeviantArt is the one that did it. And
I like that because it's super clean. That it just jumps out at you.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
70s cartoon show kind of
yeah
to it.
Yeah, it fits the cartoon.
There's only one problem I have with this
cartoon show.
There's only one problem I have with this. Where's Kirk's gut?
He's the captain. He doesn't have a gut. Isn't that right, Doctor? Yes, that's true. He's not the captain. He's not supposed to have a gut. And why is that? Because he's the captain.
His weight has been up a couple of pounds, Doctor. You know that. You said so.
Well, if he's up a couple pounds, I'm up way the hell more than that. So
but guess what I got? I'm not a pop vinyl collector, but I saw this particular thing and I was just like, I have to have it. So this is Khan from Space Seed. So they got the color.
Wearing the suit.
He's wearing the red outfit, and yes, like it is. Let me see. He's wearing. I think he's holding the phaser that he bends.
Phaser?
Yeah.
Yes. So like I swear, like I thought I saw this. I was like, I'm curious now. Do you guys think that he wore like makeup to make himself make his complexion darker to make himself look like a Sikh?
I think it could be Brian, but to be quite honest, a lot of actors and actresses tanned a lot back in the day. Plus, and it was all of it was baby oil too. And I mean, you can see some actors and actresses from back in that time period. They all look very tanned and what have you. Plus, so it could be part of the character, but it could just also be that he was just
because
really
he looked very pale, like in Wrath of Khan and other stuff that Ricardo Montalban's been in.
He was older then.
People of Mexican descent, like those of us of Sicilian descent, if we spend like an hour in the sun, we can get very dark.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, I wish that was the case with me. I'd burn.
You'll catch on fire, dude.
I'm sure he's wearing like stage makeup, but I don't think he's they didn't like brown face.
A bronzer.
Well, yeah,
bring him down
because you can see it from like even on his chest and his arms and his hands. So it's kind of like that's a lot of bronzer to do.
Spectacular chest.
Oh yes, I'm not saying anything.
So in this scene, he's visiting Lieutenant MacGyver as the historian in her quarters, filled with historical things, and he goes, he looks at it. He looks at Napoleon, Erickson, and then he sees this here, and she is painting him, and I'm honored. And
look at his face. He knows right. And he's got her.
It's like, yeah, baby. And this is the great men just take what they want.
He's like this. He's like, I warn you, such men dare take what they want.
Not gonna lie, that was kind of hot.
See, this is my point. Mags just made my point.
And they clearly were not. I swear they weren't kissing. I mean, I know like Montalban was married with kids at the time. I think his kids were growing up at this point. Now that I think about it.
BronzeCon. Is that a new brand, Pops? BronzeCon.
BronzeCon. That's my favorite comment. I'm not trying to ignore you. Please don't think that I am.
He is.
I'm not very good when I'm solo. Steven's not here, and he usually does my chat for me. So I'm soloing tonight, which means I'm doing a terrible job of managing both things. So I apologize for that. So Khan is taking what he wants, and this is just before the dinner. The dinner is one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode.
Oh yeah,
this is the battle of the wills.
Yeah, right here. It's one of the few scenes where they actually have a dinner. I think there's only one other episode that did that, and that was season 3. Is there in Truth No Beauty, where they had a dinner for the ambassador for Diana Muldor's character. Yeah. So it's pretty cool seeing that. And of course, you have Shatner. You have Shatner being quiet and Spock asking a bunch of loaded questions. And I like how Khan is like, he's like, you are an excellent tactician, Captain. You let your second in command attack while you sit and watch for weakness and everything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Battle of Wills. I agree.
And Kirk again shows his intelligence in pointing out how Khan thinks in military terms and tells him so.
Plus, he's given Khan a chance to hang himself. I mean,
Oh, and he does. Yeah. We offered the world order.
Yeah, I love how like they used this scene and they did something kind of equivalent in Wrath of Khan, where Kirk just makes a comment and it really gets under his skin, and he reacts to Kirk's favor.
And again, he pulls the doctor. Again, I grow fatigued. Really, bro?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, he's a man of culture. I mean, sometimes you just got to say, I'm
polite.
Fatigued. You got to be polite about it.
He's a politician. He's a politician. I mean, like,
I am sick of your bullshit, Kirk. That's what he wanted to say.
And not only that, he understands the mannerisms too, because he says, may I take my leave? And of course, Kirk doesn't say anything, but the slight nod of a head or some little look, and he takes his leave. And even though he's ticked off, it's like he still has that understanding of military authority and everything else, and trying to go through with his plans. He can't ruffle too many feathers at the same time,
right? Because as soon as he read the technical manuals and just got a little bit of who's who in the zoo, his ticker was already going on what he was going to do. Now, I don't know how much time passed between him waking up and dinner. I'm assuming this is all the same evening.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
And then we are in Khan's quarters, and he reveals his plan to her about wanting to take Enterprise. And then he does some fucked up shit in this scene.
The power of what compels you. Word that rhymes with grape. The power of every time I watch this scene in a comedic sense, it's like he's deliberately smashing out with his charisma. Like, whip, you will obey me. Whip, like just mentally smashing out with his ego.
Well, then he's like, well, it's no longer up to you. Now you have to ask me to stay.
Khan has a warped sense of honor. He does have honor, and he offers to let her go. He tells her his plan to take over the ship, and then says leave. She could have gone straight to Kirk and said something.
But see, the thing is, though, that's how you manipulate weaker people. Yeah.
But also, he doesn't want to beat Kirk like by stabbing. He wants to beat Kirk face up. You know what I mean?
Well,
he wants to take Kirk's ship. He doesn't want to like gas Kirk in his sleep, and when no one knows it's coming. You know what I mean?
He does gas Kirk,
but not like, but
doesn't kill him.
You know what I mean?
But yeah,
that's why I say it that way. He doesn't want to do it when everyone's asleep and wake up and roll in shackles or whatever. He's on. I'm Khan. I can take this anytime I want.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it as a thief in the night. He wants everybody to know it was him that beat you.
He's a conqueror, not that's what he
is. Yeah, so I love going back, I love the music that they used. Now I know they didn't compose any new music for this episode. They reused, they basically reused, cues and everything from older episodes. But I loved the music they used to end that last scene where Khan reveals his plan, and then Marla is like, "I promise, I'll do anything you ask." And then he smiles, and they play the Corbin My Maneuver theme. Dun dun dun. I can't think of it right now. But
that's
like but I love that. Like the music is one of the things that really drew me to the series. Like when Khan is threatening and menacing, you hear the Ruck theme from What Our Little Girl's Made Of. Boom 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 boom. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about? That thing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I want to say yes, but my hearing is not working too well.
That's what I was watching on my episode as much as
for those listening to this and continuity reasons, they clearly established in this episode that the eugenics wars and World War III start and happen in the 1990s.
That sounds very weird and
so
what we've already been dealing with right now. Anyway,
when Voyager goes back to the 1990s, you don't see them, though there is a throwaway line that says that they're beginning elsewhere in the world. You know what I mean? It's not that they say it that way, but there's kind of a throwaway line in there that indicates that they could be going on. They just haven't hit the U.S. yet.
I've never cared about the nitpicky stuff with the timeline.
Oh no, but the reason I bring this up is because everything in the last 4 Star Trek shows have been, basically shitting all over continuity to the point of pure, like pure contempt. And you got to be like, to me, it's all got to, unless you're doing a total reboot in the universe, it's all got to agree with the original series. But that's my rule with this sort of stuff.
As long as they try. Yeah,
I pick Khan. I pick Khan.
Yeah, Kurtzman Trek can go. Go ahead, Max. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I was going to go with Khan because Trudeau is a piece of.
Yeah, Trudeau's just a bitch. Khan is awesome. In comparison, Khan is awesome.
Well, that's what this whole scene is about.
Yep.
They all are admiring Khan. The scene irritates Spock, or their admiration of Khan irritates
Trudeau. Trudeau, I would have words with you. Call your cabinet. I have questions.
He would actually command his cabinet.
Yep.
So we know who he is. He basically was a quarter of the planet was under his rule. He was the greatest of the dictators. There were no wars, massacres. He just kept, he kept a real iron fist over everything. But apparently, of all the
they never. I'm not defending Khan as a dictator, but they never say that he was like, a horrible ruler. They just say he took power to conquest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't seem. They said there weren't any wars, or there weren't. I forget how they phrased it, but it didn't seem like he was, like you said, Matt, that he wasn't a horrible ruler at all. It's just he just owned like a quarter of the earth.
Well, he conquered it, but he ruled it. Yes. But they don't go. Oh man. Excuse me, in the middle of December now, my allergies are kicking in. It's crazy. It's again, I'm not going to defend world conquerors. That's stupid. But there's this episode to me has a degree of nuance to both of these characters. You know what I mean? That as they play off against one another, Kirk and Khan. We know from other episodes, Kirk was totally willing to extinct the whole planet to accomplish missions. And so they both have their dark side to them.
There's also a contextual difference in the audience at the time, because this is near to World War II, and eugenics would not have been a popular thing.
True.
With just
average now,
people.
Which is something they're actually trying to do.
Exactly.
Yep. In this scene, Kirk basically just lets Khan go. He just lets him talk, and and Khan can't help himself again, and he thinks, we will do very well in your time. And Kirk said, any more questions? No, you've told me everything I need to know.
I love that conclusion. This is the end of their battle of the wits, and yes. We had the when he woke up in sickbay, the dinner, and then this conversation, and it is just so excellent. Like, this is Kirk at his highest when he comes to how intelligent and witty he is.
Now, here's another error.
Khan read the entire technical library in an hour. It's like it understood it.
They only have one guard on Khan. They have him locked in his room.
That's just weird.
They know who he is and what he's capable of. I guess they wildly underestimated his strength and his willpower to get out of that room.
Well, I will mildly disagree and say they didn't think he could do anything except he understood the entire function of the ship in an hour. You know what I mean? Like that trumped anything they could do to defend against him. Like even if he does this, they could still gas the whole floor or whatever. But Khan preempted that by his learning how to work the Enterprise in an hour. You know. So.
And then,
poor Lieutenant Kyle. He rarely gets a break.
Yeah.
Just crumbles like a bag of potatoes.
But he's not dead. He appears in like 8 more episodes, so he's not dead.
He's in Wrath of Khan. He's the communications officer on the Reliant.
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh, I never knew that.
He has bad luck. That's just bad luck running into Khan twice.
He doesn't get knocked out in Wrath of Khan, but he ends up being one of the crew that
apparently
gets
marooned on Ceti Alpha V.
That's right.
There was one thing I did want to mention about men like Khan. When they do conquer, once you have subjugated people, what do? I was reminded of the country of Yugoslavia. With what I do in my normal profession, I work with a lot of people that actually live over in that area. And you wouldn't think that they would have a fondness for somebody like Josip Broz Tito, but they do. And the reason that they do is because he maintained order. He kept all of those various groups from all of the parts that have now broken away from the former Yugoslavia. He kept them from killing each other. Once he died, that's when they started having all of their issues. And Khan, to me, seems like that type of person. He was the strong man, but he was the strong man that kept all the other strong men from trying to kill each other, and or the populace in general from trying to kill each other. So in a lot of ways, he's a very interesting character.
Oh, he is. He's not single dimensional.
No, he is not single dimensioned or single minded.
Not by a long shot. And so here's the scene where everybody's awake. You got the hot chicks wearing the gold mesh, and he's going up and slapping their shoulders, saying their names, and just getting them ready to go forward into this century.
It's like he's like it's not the world to win. Now it's the universe.
So here we are.
Poor Scotty. He couldn't be based enough.
So at this point,
by the way, for Scotty, he had been a reoccurring background character in terms of most.
Oh,
this was the first one where he featured more prominently. One of the first ones, if not the first one.
Yeah, he was pretty prominent in this one. He was very, very prominent in Taste of Armageddon, where he actually talks back to the ambassador, and I think he was also pretty prominent in Galileo 7.
Yeah,
and of course the Naked Time, but a few others. But this one really, like, the network was actually really happy with James Doohan. They asked the producers to give Doohan a larger role in the series. So hence, like you said earlier, this is one of the earliest times that he actually joined as one of the senior officers. Now he's one, instead of it being the big three, then he was kind of the fourth character.
And in this scene right now, on the bridge, they're losing environmental systems. The intruder, lockout system is locked out. So Khan shut everything down from engineering. And when Kirk calls down to engineering, Scotty tries to say something, and then he gets, taken down. And then Khan basically says, give me control of the ship. And he's like, and Kirk's like, no. And he's like, it's academic at this point. And then everybody
refuse, or your bridge, your crew's going to suffocate. Yep,
suffocate.
I remember.
And then we come to this scene, which is another really good scene.
This is
Khan
scene.
Is trying to convince them to join him.
because he's even though he read the manuals, he doesn't. I don't think he completely here. He basically states that he didn't read the entire manuals. And the thing is, there's so many things. There's so many parts to maintaining a ship, especially a ship like the Enterprise. So that's why he starts trying to recruit.
Yes.
He really wants Scotty, and he really wants Mr. Spock to join.
Kind of key members of the crew to.
Well, he wants followers. I mean, you got to remember, he knows he has to build an empire. He can't just do it with his 50 guys or whatever. He needs more followers,
Yeah. Oh,
and he tells Uhura to put on the display screen. She refuses, and she gets a big old smack from this dude.
Yeah, very toxic male. Joaquin, very toxic.
Joaquin. What's really great with her reaction, though, and yes, she gets hurt, but she still maintains her ground.
She's got that. She's got eyes of defiance.
I mean, look at that. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. She is like staring him down. Like, I dare you to do that again. I love it.
And then he does to go to do it again, and Marla steps in. She's like, "No!" And then she brings up the screen for him.
Yeah,
and we see old Jim Kirk in a bottle.
They had to build this too. This is the medical decompression chamber. This was something they had to build for this particular episode. So we only see this in one other episode. I think it was the Lights of Zetar, the one with Memory Alpha. That was the only other time we actually see this.
This is a pretty complicated set, though. The way the doors swap.
If you watch
another door,
you'll see this set in some form or another in other science fiction-y things over the next 10, 15 years before they finally break it down.
So they're decompressing Kirk is what is the thing. And Khan threatens the crew. He's going to die. And then he's like, well, I guess the next one to go down there will be Mr. Spock. So they're walking Spock down there during
this scene with the threatening and the crew standing firm to defy Khan. For everyone for the past 2 years that closed your doors to your businesses and your churches, watch this episode and feel like the coward that you are. Like, this is how people of the past, not that long ago, 50 years ago, are being. It's not like everyone would have acted like this in real life, right? But this is the kind of thing that you'd look up to as the way you should stand up to evil.
Yes.
Stand up to a tyrant telling you do this or die. And they look at that. They're all just saying no.
Scotty's literally like she's like, where's Captain Kirk?
And Uhura doesn't budge. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's a doctor or a communications officer or an engineer. They don't all have to be frontline warrior soldiers to have courage and to stand firm in their conviction.
They're all trained Starfleet officers. Is the other thing. They've gone to the academy, and so they're not just Joe Blow off the street. Yeah,
they're the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, which is an issue with the stuff that calls itself Star Trek now, is because what they show is not the best of the best of the best, and heck, their characters are not the best of the best of the best.
And you know what I like about it too? Uhura doesn't cry. I mean, yes, she's in pain, but she instead of crying in tears and crying in hallways, it's more like, I'm gonna stare you down. And look, she even stands up to kind of try to defend herself.
She looked like she was ready to hack and slash some anatomy parts off.
If this was New Trek, like they would spend like the whole next 15 minutes, her and Marla talking about their feelings right now. She'd be talking about her feelings.
Yeah. How did you feel when he struck you?
I felt young. Oh, sorry, wrong. Sorry, wrong episode. Wrong movie.
So we got Jim in a bottle. He's getting decompressed, and Marla.
Science nerd note. They're giving you pressure in millibars there.
I've never seen inches. It looks like inches of mercury.
I've always known
millimeters. I've always known millimeters of mercury.
It's whatever it's inch or not. But they're giving it to you in the mercury. Mercury.
Yeah, inches of mercury. You use that for aircraft pressurization.
Yeah, really. I mean, from my experience, we usually always use pascals.
Yeah, like one. I think it's one. Is it 1 millimeter of mercury is 100 pascals or something like that? I don't remember. I'm just pointing to the audience that's millimeters of mercury measurement, so to speak. You might not see that nowadays in a classroom or whatever.
So Marla asks Khan if she can leave because she's like, I don't have to watch this, do I? And Khan's like, I'd hoped you would be stronger.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh. And so she goes down and plays a little mind game with I don't know who fuckboy is here. And she's like, Khan said to watch him closely. And
he may decide to cooperate.
Yes, he may decide to cooperate. And so he's like, okay. Sure. And she sticks a thing in his neck. He falls over. She fixes the shit. And there Jim pops out.
So had she not done what she did, Khan would have basically defeated the crew.
Well, no, Spock would have enraged killed them all. Spock would walk in there.
Nah, he wouldn't have done that. I don't think he would have done that. Yeah, that'd be funny if it did. But that's something New Trek would do. That's something New Trek would do. Sorry. I just had.
Yeah, New Trek would have done that, and it would have been dumb.
If you've watched Strange New World, Spock, Ethan Pecker Spock is so emotional. I'm just like, shut the fuck.
My only question is in this scene, and it's just really a nitpick. It's nothing too special or anything because I love this episode, but like the guard there being so willing to trust her even though she was part of the crew. So it's kind of
thinking of that.
It's kind of odd to just immediately just like take her word for it, if you know what I mean.
I think because she's Khan's woman. He knows she's Khan's woman, and
maybe he doesn't want to get on Khan's bad side.
Maybe it's because he doesn't have women's intuition, right, Mags? I'm kidding.
Are you telling me something, Brian?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying anything.
If it was new Star Trek, that's what the excuse would be.
So Jim gets out of the thing. He has a miraculously fast recovery.
Yeah, I mean, I would be flat on my face.
So he and Spock he rescues Spock as they're walking in. Somehow they're able to subdue the other Superman pretty easily. So Kirk is running down to engineering, but while he's going, they're announcing it over the ship. It's like the captain's headed to engineering.
Shut up, Scotty. I was just like, shut up, Scotty.
It's like, bro, what the fuck? So Khan gets ready, of course, just wait for him to show up. Kirk bursts in like Elliot Ness, and Khan's just like, nah, bro.
This part.
Phaser, which I loved. I thought this was brilliant. And he's like, you can't defeat me physically. I'm 5 times stronger than you.
Yeah. This is where they play the timpani part that I was doing earlier,
Boom, boom, boom,
just
boom, boom,
boom, boom, boom.
And I love this scene.
So,
this is great.
This move was
WWF move here.
Yeah.
This is before Lethal Weapon. This is 2 decades before Lethal Weapon was ever a thing.
Yeah. So I have the 1080p rescan of the TOS that I watch. And in the original DVD and quality, you can see it's a stuntman in some scenes.
Oh god,
1080p, call the image up, like that I just shared.
Oh, let me hang him out.
You can clearly see the face.
That's
I don't know who the fuck that is.
That was I forget what was his name. That was another issue that people had with this episode.
If they ever remaster this again, they probably should digitally make him look a little more like William Shatner. But this is the first time I watched it in 1080p. Like the last time I watched it was the 720p remasters where they did the special effects, and I was like, oh wow, you can clearly see who that is now. You know what I mean? There's no ambiguity anymore.
That is not Jim Kirk.
Yeah.
So, but that is Jim Kirk playing on the jungle gyms, doing some crazy maneuvers, mostly getting his ass kicked.
Anything
then
pulls a pipe out of the wall. At least I think that's a pipe.
The old there's like a series of these things in the just in the panel.
I almost feel like was this necessary to the engine room, or was this like actual weaponry if they needed it? But it was convenient.
I think it was supposed to be intentionally supposed to be part of engineering.
Yeah, it's like a set of tools or something, or control rods or something to control the engine or something.
I'm not like I don't know all the inner workings of a ship like that. So
no.
I'm a woman, y'all. I'll say it.
Beats the fuck out of Khan.
Well, it's all made up, so.
Yes.
But they're probably like control rods for reactor or something.
The stunt actor's name that was Kirk his name is Gary Combs, and there was Yeah, James Doohan basically said this. He says, the fight scene and engineering, while nicely choreographed, made extensive and unfortunately very obvious use of Bill's stunt double, Gary Combs. Stuntmen are most effective in quick cuts, but Combs was on screen for relatively lengthy sequences, with Bill only in the tight close-ups.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there was a running thing on, like among the fandoms, that Kirk literally prepped every room on the ship with stuff he could grab because of the way he just grabs stuff all the time.
That's true. Yeah, I can see that.
Like, if you ever wonder why there's like a steel pipe on a wall in like the cafeteria or whatever, that was the running joke. It's like Kirk like, Scotty, put a steel pipe there that I can pull off the wall. It's like,
yeah,
it seems legit. So Khan had set the engines to overload, or he'd set something to overload.
The ship flares up like an exploding sun within minutes.
So they're while they're battling it out, the little beep's going off, and once Jim beats the shit out of him with the pipe, he goes over to the control panel, unfucks it, wakes everybody, makes the announcement, and then mistake number 3. So this is the court martial, and I mean, I thought it looked really good. The bell ringing was nice. Very traditional. And Kirk they go through the whole thing, and Kirk's like, all charges are dismissed.
And I like how McCoy tries to say something.
Fucking insane.
And I like how McCoy tries to say something. He completely dismisses it and turns around and talks to Spock. He's like, wait a minute, I don't think you have. Oh, Mr. Spock.
Well, think of Kirk's character though. You can see he sees something in Khan that he likes, like a part of himself, the type of
a little admiration too.
Well, yeah. I wish I could be that way in a sense. And also, did they actually kill anyone? I mean,
no.
So he didn't have to basically kill all of them, and he gave him basically what he wanted. He's like,
shit. I don't think
tried to kill Kirk.
I get that. I don't think
that's Kirk's issue. You know what I mean?
Kirk didn't take it personally.
Yeah, I don't see
this.
It's
not a matter of personally. It's a matter of procedure.
That too.
Well, that's our procedure, but not
technically for Khan and his crew, it'd be piracy, but for MacGyver's, it would be mutiny, which is a.
She's the one who
She'd be court-martialed, wasn't that? Isn't that what he said?
Down on?
She would have to. She would either go with them or she'd stay and be court-martialed.
This was not a legitimate offer. Kirk didn't have the authority to release her from Starfleet.
Well,
he does not. He does not. He's a ship's captain. He doesn't have that kind of
authority. Ship's captains were ambassadors. They were They were way more power than they had later.
Bones says that Kirk has the authority right when he's
to do what he did with Khan. Yes, I don't think he had the authority to do it.
I agree with you about it's a gray area for her because she's Starfleet.
But how would they handle that? And of course, I'm not understanding every aspect of lore, but how would they be able? I mean, would she just be in the brig and be confined to her quarters until they get back to Starfleet?
Yes, that would be the normal procedure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All I'm going to say is they need to give him the agonizer. Where is your agonizer, please?
Your agonizer. I
support the agonizer option.
Thanks, guys.
You got the
no, Mr. Spock. I really tried. I really tried. Honest.
As far as all this, the captain, especially during this time, he does have a lot of discretion and a lot of leeway that doesn't happen later on just because of the sheer amount of them. Whereas at this time, there was only about 10 or 11 ships of this class throughout all of Starfleet, and who knows how many of the other types of ships. Starfleet was nowhere near as big as we see it in TNG. So having that extra leeway, still not the smartest move. Although, as you said, he sees something in Khan. He likes him, but it's like a weird fetish like thing. I can't quite describe it. And so
he should have knocked his ass out like medically, and then taken his ass to Starbase 12, where they could have dissected him or whatever the fuck they were going to do with him.
No, they would have just did what Kirk did, put him on a penal colony.
I think. I don't think this is Kirk making a personal.
I don't think
choice.
so.
This is Kirk making a moral.
There was no death penalty in Star Trek.
No, it doesn't mean there. No, I don't. No, that's true. Well, except for going to Talos.
Talos 4.
He mentioned
that's the only one.
General Order 4.
But
go ahead, Daniel.
He mentions a corrective facility, and he basically instead of doing that, he'd rather give them a chance on a barren world to either survive or die. And he's making a captain's decision. But
I don't think Starfleet would have done that. I think Kirk is just kind of throwing that out there. I don't think Starfleet actually would have done that with someone like Khan. It's you can't generalize him like he's a regular prisoner because he's not.
Would the question is, what would Starfleet do with Khan? Would they have him develop all their weapons, and then
they might have? It might have been like
he creates the USS Vengeance, and then
he
has magic blood that can heal anything. And,
it could
bring
not
people
like the
back
J.J.
to life.
Universe, but honestly, it would have been like Operation Paperclip after World War II, where you had the German scientists building all of our rocket shit. He's a great mind, but he isn't of our century. He doesn't have that tech. But Matt, he did read the fucking technical manual in an hour. So
maybe they, because there could be some extra material out there that has this, canon and lore and everything. But it would have been interesting to see that report that Kirk has to give on this mission. So it would be interesting to see that kind of perspective.
Yeah, so that's a massive ask for Kirk. That's for sure. Or at least in my opinion, putting in that report saying, I had Khan.
Yeah.
But I gave him up.
Canon, which is Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. That's the only time Khan ever comes up. In secondary canon, if you want to go to memory beta on, for example, the Wiki for it, or there's literally probably a couple dozen novels where he gets mentioned again.
He was in the Eugenics Wars 2-parter, and then of course there was To Reign in Hell, which was in between. Space Seed
that's
and
like
Wrath of
secondary
Khan.
canon, so to speak.
And that book tries to explain, because there was a big oversight in Wrath of Khan, and it was DeForest Kelley that actually brought this up when they were filming Wrath of Khan. Is Chekhov never met Khan. So that whole thing, in the movie.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
Yeah. That was the first thing I noticed when I was watching this episode, was that Chekhov.
Where the fuck is Chekhov?
Yeah, where the hell is Chekhov? But then we realized in the book, Chekhov is one of the people that escorts Khan to the transporter.
Did you say Scott Khan?
Scott Khan, yeah.
No.
Scott, is that his cousin?
Scott Khan. I say Scott.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I heard Scott.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry.
So let's wrap up Wrath of Khan here. So Khan asks Kirk if he's up to speed on his Milton, or something to that effect. Better to rule in hell.
It's from the story called Nerdporeal Lost.
That is exactly what it's from.
Would Nerdporeal rather serve in heaven or rule in hell? There you go.
See, and Zaxx heard it too.
so then Spock has the final line. It'll be interesting to see in 100. It would be interesting to see in 100 years what grows from this seed you planted today, Captain.
Hence the name Space Seed.
And Daniel, what do you have down here? Do you want me to show this?
Yeah, go ahead and show this. Who wore it better?
Ooh,
that's a no-brainer.
That is so perfect, Daniel. Oh my God!
One man has a chest, the other is Justin Trudeau.
Roman, you should do a poll in the chat. Do a poll in the chat and say you're right or left.
One man.
Oh God, you're asking me to do something technical. I don't know how to do that.
Asking Roman to do something technical midstream is such fun.
Oh God. No, I don't know how to do
that guy's hand in Trudeau's picture. He cut his wrist because he had to meet him.
Oh God. You open up the YouTube stream and you go to the chat, and then at the bottom of the chat area where you're supposed to type, and there should be like an option for smileys. There should be an option for like little graphs or something like a poll.
Symbols.
Objects.
Activities. Oh wait, what's this? No, I don't know what that is.
Are you in your studio?
Oh God. I don't know what any of these things do. I'm not going to be able to do that.
Don't.
All right, don't worry about it.
We all know I'm not good at this. So
how about this? Okay, so put a 1 in the chat for the one on the left, or a 2 in the chat for the one on the right.
Sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Roman's an idiot. Roman does not know how to do.
Daniel, why'd you put 1?
I'm joking.
Basic things here. I'm like a chimp. I'm like manage moderators, pop out chat. No. I mean, I'll end up spending way too much time on this, and we'll never get through the episodes.
So I have a question for the pen. Do you think that the fact that he put Khan on the Ceti Alpha planet, this is classified information throughout the?
I do not. I think
no, because it starts out with Captain's log.
Yes, exactly.
No.
I have a
but what I mean is, it's not like widely disseminated throughout the the Federation. Like, you just can't look it up as like a regular person on the internet or something.
Well, you got to remember, one thing Star Trek does reasonably well with the real world is space is rather big, and like you can go there literally, like in our galaxy there's like, I don't know, 200 million stars or something like that. So you literally could have a colony in one solar system that it's on the record, but no one goes there for like 500 years in theory or whatever.
I agree. Especially during the original series, space is not the crowded place, the more friendly place of the Next Generation and the later shows. This is the far more barren, empty, scary space of the original series. And so, planets are not places that ships just drop by casually.
It's wagon train in the stars. It's a Western. You're in the final frontier. There's barely anything out there. That's why they're out there exploring.
And for the most part, they're on their own. It takes forever to get to the nearest star bases. There's only 11 or 12 Constitution class starships throughout the whole entire, the whole entirety of Starfleet. You don't run into other people very often.
The galaxy is actually much smaller too, in the original series. I mean, it's just a single trip. Just a single trip. You're at the edge of the galaxy, right there, the galactic barrier.
Zaxx had to put a one because he could be put in jail.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Zaxx. We put you in an unfortunate position. I apologize for that. It wasn't intended, buddy. So, 15 years later, we pick up Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, 1982. And the first scene, you're on board what you believe is the bridge of Enterprise. And they are getting a distress signal from a ship called the Kobayashi Maru. The problem is it's in
the Klingon neutral zone.
The Klingon neutral zone. Thank you, Matt, for pulling that out of the deep recesses of my brain. And we meet in this scene Saavik. We don't know. Like I said, at this point, we don't know. This is just a training bullshit thing. But she's making decisions, to go into the neutral zone. Spock's like, that's a bad fucking idea. She's like, it'll be fine. We'll get in, get out. And they don't. Then the Klingons are like, fuck off, because it's a trap, clearly. And everything starts blowing up. And like I said, that when you first saw this in the theaters in 1982, you had no idea what was happening.
Roman, do they design Navy ships to have consoles that explode in your face?
Oddly enough, no, they don't actually have things that explode as training aids, because that would be bad. There's I don't even know how you fix this afterwards. Everything starts blowing up. Spock's dead. A little bit of a foreshadow there. And in comes Admiral James Kirk.
In the Exorcist flight, by the way. That's like the Exorcist flight.
Yeah.
And I loved his entry into this so much.
Yeah, his entry is perfect here.
And it's like, well, what's next? Pray, Mr. Saavik. The Romulans don't take prisoners.
Even the
Klingons don't take prisoners.
Romulans, I'm sorry. I don't know why I have Romulans on the brain.
And plus, we get to see all these new uniforms, by the way. These are great uniforms.
This was my favorite of the uniforms.
This is all I forget who designed the costumes for this one, but this was purely Nicholas Meyer really wanted to go a very nautical direction in this movie, which is something Roddenberry tried to oppose, but they ended up kicking him upstairs.
That actually looks comfortable to wear.
It does. It
is not, and no actual uniform is comfortable to wear. The closest thing were our camis. They were fine. They were fine. But regular uniforms, I mean, Shieldwall, I think you can probably attest to this as well. We're not comfortable.
Any kind of dress uniform or anything like that? No. If they were your battle dress uniform, like the camouflage ones, they were pretty good to go, comfortable.
It depends what it's made of. Like I wore sports uniforms, and some of them were abrasive pieces of crap, whereas others were comfortable, like you said, with your battle.
I suspect it's the same goddamn tailors that we have making them today make those fucking things.
By the way,
still making money.
I dislike these uniforms. I wanted the original uniforms back.
What?
I liked these. But I mean, I liked the OG ones anyway. But I like this newer. I like this newer direction.
I'd like to see a blue and a yellow version of this.
Here's the thing, though. This is 15 years after the original, right? The Air Force alone today has gone through like 6 iterations of uniforms in 15 years. So this is not weird for like this kind of. Maybe in the future it is, but for military these days it's not.
I'm just saying these don't look like practical uniforms to me.
Oh, they're definitely made by the military.
Yeah. That means they're perfect, right?
Right.
But I get your point, Matt. I totally get it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna voice an unpopular opinion. I like the motion picture uniforms. I dig them.
I like them better
where Admiral Kirk looks like a dentist. That dentist outfit. That's
yes,
like a 1940s
Admiral Kirk.
I like them better than these uniforms. I'll tell you that.
And of course, it's Kirstie Alley.
I will say this. Did you guys notice when you were watching the intro credits that it says introducing Kirstie Alley?
Yep,
yeah, this was her first
role.
So I thought she was fantastic in this movie, by the way. She was perfect.
I love her.
She's a really good actress. I wish she had done more than Cheers.
She's got some good scenes.
I wish she had stayed on for the next one.
Me too.
So
she wanted more money, and they're like, no. So they hired Robin Curtis instead to play the Savick in the last. I like both actresses,
but
I think Kirstie Alley
in a way was good. Sorry. I think the next movie ruined her and Kirk's son as characters. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a lot of whining in the next one.
I love the next one.
In this scene, though, Kirk just gives her the send off. Well, now you have something new to think about. And I think I might have my slides mixed up a little bit here, but that's okay. Oh no, it is because this actually took place before when Spock gives him. Was it a Tale of Two Cities?
Yep, Tale of Two Cities. The best of times, it was the worst of times. Message
Spock?
No,
none that I can think of, other than "Happy Birthday."
Yep. The dialogue in this movie is just fantastic. I mean, there's just enough humor, but enough to show that they all, they have such a very strong bond with each other. And it's just fantastic. It shows experience over time in friendship.
Just a great follow-up to the original series. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mags, on that. And this scene has been copied so many times in Star Trek, like in its own franchise. They repurposed this scene millions of times.
Beware Romulans bearing gifts.
It's one of my favorite lines. I think that's also from Tale of Two Cities. But I don't think it was obviously it's not Romulan.
It was probably something, another
French or something. I don't know.
And then look at this. They're just, being friends, and they obviously he's an admiral, and he's definitely higher in rank, but at this point in their life and in their career, they value their friendship and their and of course Kirk values Bones's advice, and just it's great.
Well, they were friends before they even started on the Enterprise together.
I know, but you could see the development of their relationship even in this scene.
It's also nice to know that after all his hard work as a captain, he's rewarded with this gorgeous view and an apartment.
Yeah, it's right off the bay. That's like right off of the bay, right by.
I don't know what that is in 23rd century dollars, but right now that's like a $10 million apartment.
Easily,
he gets it for free.
because of social cred.
Exactly.
Well, it's zero because they're opposed.
I have to. Can I comment on Joseph Dredd's case or comment right here? It says Nicholas Meyer greater than Taco Waitiki or something. He spelled it wrong. It's Taco Woke Tiki. I will destroy your mythos in a minute, baby.
I hate that guy so much. He's such a twat. Sorry. So again, the dialogue in this scene is great because Jim is being a sulky bitch, and Bones.
He's old. What can you expect?
Why are we treating your birthday like a funeral?
He's getting older. He's being pushed off to the side. You know, and I wouldn't say pushed off to the side, but he feels like he's being put out to pasture. I think that's
this is the problem. You know, the higher in rank you are in the military structure, and I know Shieldwall, you can attest to this. You're not the guy, you know, on the front anymore. You are the guy in the back. You're making all the decisions, but you're not, you know, you're not the guy running on the deck to, you know, take care of the aircraft.
Right. You're not using your own hands to do the thing anymore. You're controlling it.
And Kirk doesn't want to be the guy behind the scenes.
No,
he wants to be the guy.
He doesn't.
But his friends
wants to be flying through space on fire. That's what Jim Kirk wants.
His two closest friends are telling that to him directly. It's not. It's not a question to them. They know exactly what the issue is, and they're telling him.
Oh shit!
So
sex bots. See, this is what I don't have a.
If you would have made me a mod, I would have gotten rid of him.
I thought you were. You're not. I'm gonna. Everyone's gonna be a mod after this.
Well, Zaxx is a mod. I think he knew.
Yeah, Zaxx. He did the bot smash.
Zaxx brought out the guns.
Yes, he did.
He did the mash. He did the bot smash.
I thought they were just saying that Mags was here. They were saying there was a beautiful woman with us. That's all. That's all they were saying.
But in this scene, so Kirk's like, I don't want to be lectured, Bones. And he's like, what? Damn it, Jim, what do you want?
What the hell do you want?
That's one of my, you know, that's what I love it. Damn it, Jim. I mean, that's I love it. I'm sorry. When we got to this, because I was watching it earlier, and when I got to the scene, because I hadn't seen this movie in so long, I'm just like, oh my gosh, all the nostalgia. I love it. Damn it, Jim. Anyway, sorry.
I liked his apartment.
It got me giddy.
I love seeing his apartment too.
Yeah, all the stuff he had in there.
He's got all those antiques and everything.
Yeah. I'm like, damn, he's got a good apartment. He knows his stuff.
Just off of what
he's a man who loves history.
But
this is an interesting thing that I just thought of. It's a great juxtaposition or contrast in comparison to Khan, who, remember, he's a very learned person himself, and here Kirk is surrounded by history and learned things, but in terms of items, it's a very interesting kind of, I don't know, dichotomy there.
Yeah, Kirk gets a book. Kirk gets The Tale of Two Cities, and then you look at you get to the Botany Bay, and you see Khan has his own book collection. Of course, the one that they visibly show
Moby Dick
is Moby Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and well, let's just say that
pays off quite a bit.
You
read that in 15 years.
I just wanted to point out something important that Mags touched on, which is their friendship and the connection and the how well written the characters are. You got to look at the terrible TNG movies. There needs to be so much appreciation for how well they maintained the actual characters from the original series to the movies. Like, these are the exact same characters. And if you just look at those next generation movies, you can see how poorly they translate to the movies, where they're not even
Picard. I mean, Picard is not Picard anymore. Picard is action hero Picard, and it's basically action hero Picard and Data, and everyone else is kind of pushed off to Worf. You get Worf, do some fun shit, but everybody else is kind of pushed off to the side. Riker, Geordi, Crusher, the rest of them get pushed off to the side.
They're not the same characters. It's not the same show. So this is something so rare to cherish, which is the translation of a TV show in its actual form to the movies, where the characters are still the same characters.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just you have this scene with Kirk and McCoy, which it goes back all the way back to Balance of Terror and other episodes where it was just Kirk and McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
Kirk goes to McCoy for for support, because he's it's lonely up on the top, but the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy thing that we get with the Genesis sequence here, that was basically going back to the original series. We got to see Spock and McCoy banter again.
I know, it's like all the feels.
Their disagreement over the science and the implications of it.
Then we get to
this is the biggest flaw in this whole movie. There is no way It is utterly impossible that they did not know that it was Ceti Alpha V from the way the ship happened.
No, I was thinking exactly the same thing. It's like, you know where the planets are. You have coordinates for where the planets are. That's in the
Ceti Alpha 6 exploded. It warped the planet. So
there wouldn't have been a giant debris field, though, or I mean, yeah, they would have. That was my biggest thing.
Well, it was
no.
With that, and maybe this is just a dumb woman question, but would that debris field be there after? Because Khan said the explosion happened 6 months after they arrived on Ceti Alpha
5.
Okay, I like how Meg said it the way Khan would say it. Ceti
Alpha.
Ceti Alpha 5.
I don't know. It's anyway. I'm just curious. Maybe it's just a dumb woman question.
Well, no, it's not a dumb question, Max. I'll answer it. If the planet, when it explodes, or star, or whatever, doesn't overcome the gravitational binding energy of the body, it will actually reform as a mass. Okay.
Gotcha.
So on the other hand, if it gets Death Starred like Alderaan was, all of the mass will scatter and keep scattering until other gravitational bodies grab it. That being said, planetary orbits have they're where they are for a reason, okay? And you're like they would have had decades and decades of scans of this planet, of this solar system. This would show up as an orbital anomaly or whatever. Like, yeah. They'll say, wait a minute, there should be 7 planets in the solar system. What happened to this one? There's a debris field and a reforming molten mass, or there's stuff rocketing at relative velocities out of the solar system. You know what I mean? They would detect this. And, obviously I'm close to Reliant staring at a planet. That's why I'm mentioning this. But it's the major flaw in the film. I still love the movie, but it's the reason the film isn't a 10 for me. Is that one thing.
So, Captain Terrell and Chekhov talk to Dr. Marcus, basically, saying, hey, we're going to go down, check it out. And she's like, if there's so much as a microbe down there, the deal is off. So they're beaming down. It's a very hostile environment.
Clearly, yep.
They see this cargo container, which I'm not quite sure where this came from, because I don't even know what Kirk did here, because remember Botany Bay was
let go.
They did. It just floated off into space. So I don't know what happened.
I think they cannibalized the ship just to give them a chance to survive at first. That's basically what I think this is.
It's kind of passively stated that when they put them on the planet, they gave them colony supplies that would have been in cargo containers.
Mm-hmm.
So they come in and they're like, what the fuck? And then they're rummaging around. There's a chessboard, stuff in there, the books. And then I love this with Chekhov.
Botany Bay.
Oh, no.
We've got to get out of here.
We've got to get out of it now.
Chekhov, what's going on? Hurry. We got to go now.
And then, what the fuck?
It's goddamn
look like a bunch of dark Jedi right there.
I was gonna say either sand people or dark Jedi.
Just a Fremen from
wrong franchise there. Wrong franchise.
It looked more like Jawas to me.
Wait, hold on. Let me do it like that lady said. May the force be with you.
And also with you, Mags, and also with you.
Pause for a second. Now, the guy on the right there,
that's him. That's Judson Scott.
He's in a TV show. One season. It's called The Phoenix. It's one of the better single-season TV shows. It's a science fiction show. If you can track it down, probably on YouTube somewhere. I haven't been able to find it in DVD or anything, but it's a really good show. So anyone out there listening, go hunt it down. It's a really good show.
How about
did it come out around this time?
In the 80s. It was like in 89 or so. He got really big after this for a couple of years, the actor.
Yeah.
I've only seen him he was in an episode of Next Generation. I believe the episode was Symbiosis. Him and Merritt Buttrick, who plays David Marcus. He was in that. He was in a Babylon 5 episode too.
He was in I think he was in that really bad movie version of The Keep that's adapted from Paul Wilson's really good book series. I think he was in that. I have to look him up. To be honest, I remember the actor, but I don't remember everything he was in.
How about Captain Terrell, played by Paul Winfield?
I love Paul Winfield.
He was in Terminator, and he was in my favorite Star Trek episode, Next Generation episode ever.
Oh,
he was
in
Darmok. At Tanagra, exactly.
You want to know what's funny? I saw this movie when I was 11 in the late 90s, and I recognized him, but I couldn't picture where, but then I realized he was in the Walter Matthau hit movie Dennis the Menace. He was the sheriff in that movie, and that's where I first saw Paul Winfield, believe it or not. But he's a great actor, and he was great. He was Dr. Franklin's father in a Babylon 5 episode where he plays like a general. And he was such a Chad in that episode. Like,
it's called Gropos, Gropos.
It's too bad we didn't see him again after that one episode, because I thought he was a great character.
I have to see if he died or not, because I know the Gropos took him.
He died most of the time.
No, he didn't die. He didn't die in that episode.
Oh. So my problem with, and this is a little nitpicky, it's not terrible. This entire crew of cons is wrong.
They're all a bunch of young models.
Well, not only that,
they're all like half Ricardo Montalban's age.
I have it in my notes too.
It's really funny. It's all totally 80s looking clothes too, like coming from the Labyrinth or something like that. Some 80s movie costumes. I just
that's what I thought when I saw Khan's face. His hair. I was like, "What the hell is this? This is very 80s looking." Hairstyle.
Well, let's also address the fact that they're all blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people serving Khan, and so they would never be able to make it today.
No.
Well, they're actually supposed to be mixed. They're all supposed to be mixed with all the different ethnicities.
Well, that's what they were in Space.
Because Scotty actually says so, and he I had it in my notes as well. He
uses some colorful terms for people.
Yeah, I guess I won't repeat them.
Unintended there. Sorry.
What do you think of?
Yeah, we're not going to say those
Please
words.
don't cancel me.
What did you think of this
pejoratives at all in Space Seed?
What was that, Matt?
Sky does not use any pejoratives at all in Space Seed.
No, he just used older terms that you're not allowed to use anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, like what?
So, but no, I'm not saying it. No one say it, please. I got enough problems with my channel.
What pejoratives? He didn't say it. What did he say? He didn't say anything.
No, Brian. Yeah, Brian. Well, I'll tell you later.
Do it. You can do it. Have it. Do it in the private chat. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I did. Okay, all right. But I did want to ask this. What do you guys think of how he introduced himself? He had he was wearing. He had the thing on. He was taking it off very slowly. You hear the menacing music, and it's just like. And then the music, boom! It just
the music was so fucking good in this whole movie.
Ricardo Montalban is a legitimately all-time great actor who never got enough roles for his talent. Well, I should say, because I've seen some of his Mexican movies. He did a lot of Mexican movies, and he got way more credit down there, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like he should have gotten more play in the U.S., but he got a little typecast as Mr. Rourke. You know?
Yeah. I don't know you.
That's why check out. That's why check out Battleground.
Battleground, okay. Mm-hmm. But I never forget the face, Mr.
Chekhov.
Isn't it?
And it's
like his acting is so awesome.
I know he takes on that villain role like so easily.
These are pets, of course.
Oh, and I love the way he talked about this because, they were one of the few survivors after the planet, blew up, and they killed 12 of his people, including his beloved wife.
Yeah, and it's implied to be Marla. So the thing was, one thing that we didn't see, one thing that fans were curious about was why Madeline Rue, who played Marla McIvers in Space Seed, wasn't in this movie. And so a lot of people believe because in 1977 she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So by the time this movie came out, she was still acting like she was really trying hard to hide her condition.
This is 1982, by the way.
Yeah, this is 1982. So she got diagnosed in 77. So this is 5 years in. She was still acting. She was still doing television roles. And they never contacted her. And we find out because Nicholas Meyer ultimately wanted to have her be dead so that Khan would have, more of a reason to go after Kirk.
Yeah, it really feeds the revenge story.
No, it does.
It feeds his insanity because he has a choice that at the end of the movie, he has a choice. He doesn't necessarily have to go after Kirk, but he still does.
Let's talk about this
thing gave me nightmares.
Thing. Well,
as a kid, I was always grossed out, and I was grossed out today. So
but
one thing I love
it is.
Yeah, look at that. One thing I love about this movie is there's horror elements in this movie. Now, early 80s, 81 was the big year for slashers and other like horror in general. So here we get like there's like three separate things. When I first saw this, actually really unsettled me. One was this scene, the body horror, seeing the eels go into Chekhov and Terrell's ears, and just look at that. They like imagine you're in their position. Khan just puts these little eels and then they force you to lock your helmet on. They just go into your ear. You can't do anything about it. But the other two things, when they vaporize somebody, only in this movie, when they vaporize somebody, you hear them scream, and it's one of the most unsettling deaths I've ever heard in Star Trek was in this movie. When I think Terrell vaporizes himself and he vaporizes the other scientist.
Terrible. And he's describing, they wrap themselves around the cerebral cortex where they grow, and then they make you susceptible to suggestion. Basically, as we all know, he can control them at this point. And then he asks, "Why are you here? And tell me where I may find Admiral James Kirk." And there he is. And there's Sulu.
Well, no, first he says captain, but then Chekhov says he's admiral.
Oh, that was,
and then he goes,
Admiral?
Admiral.
Yes. Admiral Kirk. Never bothered to check on our progress.
And that almost
on Ceti Alpha V there was life. This is Ceti Alpha V.
Yeah, I love how that part too, when Chekhov corrects him, almost kind of ticks him off even more.
Yep.
Like he's already climbed the ladder, and just out of mind and everything here. It's really
still
cool.
It's still a game of wills. Khan still has that insane rivalry with Kirk, that obsession with Kirk.
And the fact he got promoted pisses him off even more.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So we got the space bug in the ear.
Gross.
He's asking him where the fuck, why are they there, and where is Jim Kirk?
I just love how
Jim's on his way to Enterprise.
I just love how he starts with "that's better" and just chillingly says that.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, just like he's talking to a child.
Yes,
who's calmed down finally.
This here where they're going to the Enterprise, for anyone who likes spaceship porn, this is one of the most beautiful scenes and sequences, because we get this wonderful slow motion pan of them flying up to the Enterprise. And
that's great.
I think they did this better in the motion picture. Whoops.
Oh fuck no. It was so long. It was like a 17-minute scene of them.
It was much better. It was
exactly.
It was longer, but it was
better. It was way more Starship Prawn.
It was
way more Starship Prawn.
The music was Jerry Goldsmith. It was beautiful.
Too slow.
Brian, I like how you said it's longer, and that's why you like it.
The movie theater.
Oh, the double entendres are flowing freely.
By the Enterprise, I would watch if I paid money for it.
I would make a comparison between this and the J.J. Abrams Enterprise, which this here feels like an actual nautical vessel that has mass and inertia. And in Abrams, you get this nonsensical, video game Enterprise that can just jump around. And
that's also because JJ's engine room looks like the basement of a.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
Like a stadium or something. Yeah, it's horrible.
It looks like a plumbing room.
All it is like lens flare.
Yeah.
The other issue I have with J.J. Abrams stuff is they always warp out in the middle of like a debris field. Like, seriously?
Yeah, they're not very smart, but
not very bright.
It's almost, when you look at the engine room from how they built it and made it look in the motion picture, and then how they made it look in this, they obviously had to tone it down because they didn't have the budget. But everything with the Prime timeline is a lot more sleek, a lot more compact, and purpose-built. Whereas with the Darth Jar Jar cinematic Antichrist version, it literally looks like the whole entire secondary hull the whole entire thing is housing some form of liquid coolant, very industrial, and
I fucking hate it.
It's not sexy.
I hate it so much.
And what I love about you moved on to the next scene where he first gets announced on the ship. I love the fact that we're also getting more visual of the other uniforms. And I know not everybody's going to be fans with these uniforms, but I like
these engineering uniforms.
I love it because it's just like it shows it's an updated look, and it makes it feel more lived in my opinion. I don't know, it's me, but I like that you get to see the different uniforms and a different variation.
Because they're dealing with radiation. And
go ahead, Shieldwall.
Did you notice something about the engineering crew compared to the rest of the crew? There are no women; they're all men.
Oh, good point.
I don't think they designed a proper breastplate for these. Maybe that was it. I
don't know why that is. It's just something that,
that's a good
modern
point,
media has trained us to look for.
Also, the little fella here, Scotty's nephew,
is an Escape from Witch Mountain.
He's also
that kid?
Yeah, he's Rorschach in The Watchmen.
Oh wow!
So he from Witch Mountain to Watchmen, same actor.
No, it's not. He wasn't in Watchmen. That's
Harley. That's Haley. What's his name, right?
This is Ike Eisenman. This is Ike Eisenman. It's not what's his name.
Am I mixing up my actors?
Hey, you're mixing up your actors.
I thought it was the same.
If they were going to edit out the whole nephew thing, they should have edited out this scene too.
You're thinking Jackie Earl Haley, Roman.
Yes,
this is not Jackie Earl Haley.
Never mind. Never mind. I haven't even been drinking. Yeah, I was on the Enterprise. Spock said something that annoyed me. I wanted to rip off his pointed ears.
You know what I love about this scene too? Go back to that scene real quick. Do you notice how in this one scene how diverse this scene is?
And absolutely.
The
men that actually take care of the ship are quite diverse.
And not only that, but like, okay, we've all grew up on this. We were okay and accepting of it. So it's like, what? But anyway, it's just amazing. I'm just pointing it out because of modern
Mags,
lens that we have to.
This right here, what you just pointed out is how we grew up seeing this is what pisses us off about all this crying about it now.
Yep.
Is we're like, what are you talking about? Look at this from 82. Look at the original show.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I don't know if this is a millennial thing or a Zoomer thing, but like, it's like they feel like they're the first, and this is the issue I feel baby boomers have too. They feel like they're the first generation to discover this stuff.
The people
just like, shut the hell up.
You're not making these complaints never bothered to watch this stuff. They were never fans of science fiction or Star Trek in the first place. They never would even bother going back to watch, even if you told them.
Exactly.
They just want to be in communities and be among what's popular.
Yep, and to be, I think it's also just every generation has its asshole. Excuse me for saying that, but it's just there. Because I'm a millennial and I grew up on this stuff, and it's weird hearing other people, say, "Hey, we don't appreciate it." It's like, yeah, we some of us do because we grew up on it, but it's like I meet different people from different generations who are also assholes. So it's kind of like, for me, I'm just like, whatever, I'm not going to listen to you anymore because this is what I grew up with and I didn't question it and I didn't care. I enjoyed the film for what it is.
Yep. Literally didn't give it a second thought.
Yep. I can guarantee you that these modern writers who say, now we have real diversity, whatever, never even watched the original material ever.
Nope.
Ever.
Exactly.
Well, no, they don't need to watch it because they know they can already do better already.
Yeah, this is all problematic. I mean, seriously. Like Khan and his male chauvinism, like seriously, like that's toxic. Like this should be canceled right now. Seriously. Like Nerdporeal says so.
I love this exchange, by the way.
Yes. I didn't put the whole thing down, but basically she's confused about Kirk. He's not what she expects.
Kirstie Alley does a fantastic Vulcan, and I love that she's subtly different than Spock. Like Leonard Nimoy, we all know how he does his Vulcan.
What do you think of the Vulcan? What do you think of the Vulcan language?
I wasn't a huge fan. It's kind of weird sounding, and it sounds a little bit made up, but I don't mind.
It is made up. Science fiction.
No, but it's made
All
up.
languages are made up.
But it sounds made up. There's a difference. Like if it's well designed, like Tolkien, who could actually was a linguist, if he could design a language.
All languages sound made up because they are.
but Klingon is famously a legitimate language. You know,
That's true.
That's true. That is true.
That's because Shakespeare wrote in Klingon.
True. Hey, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Oh, but look at this shot. This is beautiful. This is wallpaper. This is like
so. I wanted to comment on Enterprise, and this goes back to Star Trek: The Motion Picture as well. The redesign or the upgrade of Enterprise, it is a very organic upgrade because it doesn't make the ship look wonky. I mean, the primary or the saucer section still looks almost identical, and the secondary hull looks almost identical. The main change is like in the deflector shield and the nacelles.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the ship looks the same. It didn't go, all fucking sideways on us with a redesign, unlike the Abrams version of the ship, which I don't prefer.
I don't even remember the Abrams ship, to be honest.
It's more round and stupid looking. It looks like a big cock in space. I fucking hate it.
The only thing
like a blue what was our Amazon's blue penis rocket? It's the same thing.
Oh, the SpaceX rocket, but the Darth Jar Jar version, the nacelles are closer together. They're a little taller. Everything's rounded again, and it's also about twice the size of what the Constitution class is. But
because they scanned the Narada or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, everyone got the vortex upgrade basically in that continuity.
Yeah,
which they didn't bother explaining in the movie. They just did it.
Yeah.
So we're on the bridge, and Spock lets Saavik take the ship out, and this is her first time taking it out. And my favorite line is Bones asked Jim if he wants a tranquilizer. It's like, no.
Well, you gotta remember that at this time,
would you be freaking out if
an inexperienced pilot? Yeah,
exactly.
But you gotta remember that at this time, the Enterprise had been fixed up since the motion picture, and been about 15 years or so. 13 to 15 years between it. So even though it's still technically newer, it's still an older ship in the fleet now.
Yes. And what I do like about this version of Enterprise is that the bridge still looks like the bridge. This is very identifiable as Enterprise's bridge, with some minor differences, but it's still, this is the bridge of Enterprise.
You can see some of the
class ship.
You can definitely see some of the upgrades to it, but it still doesn't take away from the original appeal from the original.
It's still got the railing around. The main deck is a little bit lower, and it's just I'm a big fan of that bridge design.
You're right.
I tried to set my living room up like that, and Mrs. The Empire said, "There's no fucking way you're doing this. Please put it back." And
so here's my thing about having her take the ship out. She's not actually flying it, so they're really not any danger.
No, because Sulu would be like,
Sulu.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Is that one of these guys on the ship that are part of the original crew should be captains of their own ship by now.
I wish they would have given her a line to say something like, 7 degrees starboard or something. That would have been a little more reason for him to be tense.
Right, because she's just like, take it out, and Sulu's like, all right, okay.
And because she's not really giving him more of a direct direction, if that makes sense. It's more like take it out, okay? Like where?
She's just giving commands that. And then those guys are actually going through the motions or doing.
But I do like Kirk's reaction though. Like he's like, no.
It's so fucking tense. It's like, oh geez.
What's the worst thing that she could say? Forget to take the parking brake off.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god. Fucking JJ, you piece of shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's just the worst, man. So we see. So she gives the command. Enterprise pulls out for just a regular, leisurely training mission, and then we go back to.
Hey, it's Epsilon 9 upside down. Just saying.
Is it? I actually like the design of this station quite a bit. And I like you get kind of the vibe, you see it, then you go into the station with Dr. Marcus and crew, and she's talking to the crew of Reliant, and Chekhov's like, good news. Ceti Alpha V checked out.
Wait, we weren't expecting you for like another 6 months.
Well, things have changed. The admiral the order comes from Admiral James T. Kirk. And she's like, and she freaks the fuck out, and then she gets off, and then Chekhov, like a fucking dog with a bone to Khan's like, you realize she's going to try to confirm the orders. And Khan's like,
I know indeed.
And then she calls Jim, like, Jim, you fucking asshole! Did you give the order? What order? What are you talking about, woman?
I miss this standard definition. Like, I love thinking, like, the future had low-fi, low-tech, standard definition technology.
That's definitely a tube TV right there.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a tube TV in there.
And they're having just a bad phone connection, basically.
Yes, they still have a bad connection. So he's only getting half the data, but he knows Reliant is on its way to collect Genesis.
Now the question is, Khan was jamming their signal. So the question is, what flavor? Was it the raspberry, just like Lone Star would do?
And that's it for Nerdporeal tonight, folks. You've got a good guess. And so Kirk goes in and talks to Spock about this, and this is the great scene where he tells Jim he should take command of Enterprise. And Jim's like, I don't want to, Spock. I don't need it. And then Spock's like, you misread me, Captain. I have no ego to bruise. And he does the whole, you're my commanding officer, and you're also my friend. I have been and always will be yours.
I mean,
and that scene grabs me by the fucking gut every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing one thing, or doing a few things. One is setting up, the end, obviously, and the other thing is, and I was listening to Pops' stream. He was talking about this movie too, and this was something I didn't even realize it, but this is also him learning from the motion picture. Because remember how he took command from Decker, and he had all of that trouble with Decker. Well, he kind of learned from that, and that's why he's more humble about it. And plus, it's Spock, it's his friend. Well, he's not gonna pull that shit on Spock.
Do you understand the imagery in this scene too?
I was gonna say, with Spock in the Colonar program, he was supposed to shed attachments and friendships, but he rejected that to go back to Kirk.
Yeah.
The imagery of this just reminds me like the back of a 70s van with that mirror. Like the shag carpet and stuff.
It's a very interesting imagery setup for, what's to come later. Yeah.
With because of the glass, are you talking?
Yeah, the reflection. Yep.
This is also so similar to Next Generation, when we see Worf so often doing similar meditations and
Vulcans like that disco ball motif on their walls.
That is sexy. And that's actually the Vulcan symbol, isn't it?
It is. If you pan out, it's the it's like a circle with the ray coming out of it.
It's too bad they didn't play that Vulcan theme that Vulcan theme from the original series. Bum 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 bum. You know what I'm talking about? From TOS.
No one knows what you're talking about. My drummer, Matt, not Matt, Unbearable. My drummer, Matt, does the same thing. He'll throw a beat at me like, hey, you remember this? And I'm like, dude, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
You never saw Mock Time. That's from the show, from the original series.
The way I remember it is dun 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 dun.
That's the fight. It's the Mock Time fight.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't remember any of the music from Star Trek. I just remember that because when I'm gonna go at my son, I do that, and he's like, "Dad, no."
My brothers did that all the time when they would wrestle with each other. It was almost like, my oldest brother would always do the theme song.
Just looking at this scene, it is more diverse than anything they've ever done in the modern era.
I mean, look at the there's at least 4 women on 4 women here,
and
as
one
far
in
as
the
what I can tell.
chair.
Yeah.
And Jim's in this scene, he's telling, of course, the crew, I'm sorry about this. I'm going to need you to grow up a little bit faster than you planned on. We're going to go off and do something extremely dangerous. You're all fucked.
And notice
we're probably going to die.
And notice how they don't speak out of turn every single scene like they do in New Trek, especially Strange.
No, actually maintain chain of command and military discipline for the most part.
Yeah, they don't just throw a bunch of college students on a starship and just say,
Captain, why are we doing this?
Anson Mounts Pike is more of a friend boss than, and I keep saying this, Anson Mounts Pike is more of a friend boss than an actual captain. I'm like, dude, throw some balls and grow some balls and step up.
Throw some balls. Throw your balls away. That's what he did.
What I like about this too is that you see the more. I mean, Kirk, of course, he's going to be firm because he's been in a leadership role for a long time, and we've known that of his character. But you can see his compassion too, because he's asking these students, these young, inexperienced people, that because now there's a distress signal that could be potentially dangerous, and he's asking a lot of this from young people young kids who are certainly unprepared for what they're going to be facing.
Well, some of these are cadets as well.
Yeah,
college kids basically.
They're because in the Naval Academy they do this, and I don't know if they do this in the Air Force as well, Shieldwall, but in their 4th year they let them. It's to the part that it's like what they do over the summer. They will go aboard actual ships and see what it's like to be part of the fleet. Yep. So they're out there with the guys, learning, what does a helmsman do? All of these things. They're a pain in the ass, but it's important for them to see a functioning ship at sea.
Yeah, the Air Force does the same thing. They come out to the units. They get to fly on airplanes. They don't fly them, but they get to fly on them and see the maintenance and the whole thing all over base and see how it works. So it's pretty much the same, except they're not on a boat.
Okay, Enterprise goes to warp. They're having a conversation. And this isn't the one where he yells at him yet.
No, this is the one where he basically tells Khan, he's like, you don't have to defeat Kirk again. The fact that we escaped is enough to defeat the plans of Admiral Kirk. And then, of course, this is where he's like, he tests me. He tests me, and I shall have him. I'm not going to go that far.
And Spock and McCoy don't know what the fuck Genesis is. They've never heard of this thing.
Yeah, it's
beyond the biblical reference.
It's Admiral. Yeah, it's Admiral. I think it's Admiral rank and higher.
So Carol
Marcus.
Does anyone
and then
else?
Bones gets this fucking weird look on his face. Jim's like, you can just hear Jim thinking, "Shut the fuck up, Bones. Shut the fuck up."
Does anyone else wish they had used someone, an actual love of his from the past episodes?
Oh, instead of Carol, it would have been an interesting tie back.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone brand spanking new to us. I agree. That would have probably been kind of cool.
I mean, they hired BB Besh for that reason, because she resembled, Old Flames from the original series.
Well, she's of the right age.
That too. And by the way, I don't know if a fun fact has nothing to do with this thing, but because of all the Mario stuff going on, she's the mother of the actress that plays Princess Daisy in the 90s Mario live action film, Samantha Mathis. So
wow,
you were a wealth of knowledge tonight. Good job.
Admittedly,
good job.
I don't know what the fuck Mario is.
Did we already pass the part where she's talking with her son and Kirk is this and that, and she's like,
that overgrown Boy Scout.
Yeah, she's like, he's not a Boy Scout.
Very awkward.
Yeah, that's because she knows he's not a Boy Scout.
Oh my, Carol Marcus breaking it down. If this ship's rocking, don't come a knocking. Now we're getting the overview of what Genesis actually does, and it's the creation of life, and then we get McCoy's great question. My God, what if they use this thing where life actually existed? And then Spock, would erase such life in favor of its new matrix. In favor of its new matrix.
Yeah, we're talking about universal.
This is that great exchange. This is old school Star Trek exchange.
Yeah,
and not only that, but Bones is correct in this. I mean, I understand Spock's point of view, but Bones is correct in this sort of thing. He's like, this could be used as a weapon against the Federation if it's leaked out. And Yeah.
And let's just say it might be followed up in the next movie, by other interested races and parties and everything.
Carol Marcus is kind of a monster.
There's some Kabla going on.
She's kind of a monster. She's a fucking war criminal.
And I mean, even David brings this up even before this. Like, this could be perverted into a dreadful weapon.
Yes, and he's not wrong. No. I mean,
now, it would have been interesting.
The mysterious disease of unknown origins perverted into an awful weapon.
It would have been interesting if they tied in Ceti Alpha 6 getting blown to bits or whatever with early Genesis experiments. That might have been interesting tie-in.
Oh my god, that would have been great. See, nice.
That would have been interesting.
Which one again? I'm sorry, I didn't pick that up.
Ceti Alpha 6. Why did it blow up?
Why it blew up?
Well, they actually do. Nicholas Meyer was writing a con series for New Trek before they just decided not to use it all. But he wrote about how Ceti Alpha 6 exploded. There were people on Ceti Alpha. There was a race of people on Ceti Alpha 6. Robert Meyer Burnett read the script, read parts of the script in a couple years ago for a live stream. So it's on the record.
But what I'm saying is, it would have been interesting as a tie-in if there was some sort of undercover, like they discover that that early Genesis experiments are what caused Ceti Alpha to blow up. You know, like have not Khan's motivation be purely to get back at Kirk, but to follow the trail of what caused the blow up and discover the Genesis project.
That would have been really intriguing.
Oh yeah, even more
a legitimate reason to do something. Not just
maybe he would have wanted revenge against whoever was responsible for that too.
Well, true, but man, his reasons for revenge upon James Kirk were very legitimate. They never followed up, and you and I talked about this last time. We had a bit of an argument about it.
And
I still think Starfleet should have fucking followed up, especially with someone like Khan.
Not Kirk got promoted away.
The Starfleet in general.
I think it would have been cool to have that added layer of intrigue, though. Of he's been hedging on revenge against Kirk, and here's this also added layer of, oh, by the way, the same Starfleet, science, whatever, did this thing to the planet that I was sent to. So this is just a double bonus of me. I can just really hit back harder, and that would have been a lot more interesting. I mean, I like the movie as it is, but it's like that would have been another added layer of intrigue that could have.
Was that script trying to say that the race that was on the planet blew the planet up by some means, or it's just saying there were people there?
I don't think there were any people there at all in the movie.
No, I'm talking about in that script.
In the script. Okay.
Yeah.
An attempt to make a TV show about that with some of the events where they were explaining Ceti Alpha 6 blowing up, among other things.
If you were to redo this as a mini series, then I could see that being really well used, because then it adds, like you said, add motivation, other players. Right. But in the movie context, you have a perfect movie basically, and then you're talking about bulking it up with more.
What I like, one of my favorite lines comes from this scene. And yes, Nerdporeal, yes, you now have the power to delete me.
5 times.
When he and Spock are having the argument, and Bones has the, why you green-blooded, inhuman.
And then Spock does the eyebrow lift, like,
gentlemen.
That was that's a nice little callback right there.
And then Reliant is on its way.
See, I like the design of the Reliant. Short, compact, stout, and it looks like it looks menacing. It looks like it's ready to come and kick your ass.
It was originally supposed to be a flip the other way, but Harv Bennett picked it up upside down and assumed it was that was the orientation, and so it ended up being that way. They ended up making it because of that.
I can totally see that. Like if you flipped it upside down, how it would look. So this is a Miranda class ship, right?
Not a combat design.
Yeah. This is the Miranda class, and I will say, for those that do tend to play Star Trek Online every once in a while, this ship is a mean sumbitch when it's loaded up. Ooh, it's a powerful little ship. We're all one big happy fleet. Yes.
So
no. We're all one big happy panel. Jeez,
I looked this up about that ship, and because I thought it was like super big, like the Enterprise, and I was like, how do these like 13 people run this ship? But the Miranda class only has between 26 and 38 normal crew complement.
Yeah, considerably smaller.
So it's possible, except on the screen, perspective-wise, they look the same size to me.
Well, they didn't really show them close up together.
Yeah. But as a kid, I thought they were the same.
I like that they changed the bridge of Reliant, so it's not the same bridge as Enterprise. You're not getting just a reused version of that,
right?
And there are more of Khan's people than this. I think there are something like 40 or 50 of them still alive because they didn't lose. Remember, there's 70 were on the planet, and they only lost, I think, 30.
I was just basing off of they come outside and all those people are standing out there, and then you see them in the background and all the shots. It's always the same, like 12 people. But if it's a ship of 28 normal crew complement, you can run a ship like that with 12 people because you got to figure with shifts and everything. You just cut that number in half and you're fine.
Right, because half the crew is probably asleep.
Right.
The one thing
because they weren't expecting anything like that. They weren't at red alert. They weren't at general quarters when Khan's people beamed aboard.
The one tiny criticism I have, it's probably would be considered a nitpick, is that I wish that more of Khan's crew had a little bit more interaction with him, or had a little bit more dialogue instead of the one dude, because it just seems so weird that just the one dude was the only one that was answering or talking.
And again, my problem, one of my nitpicks about this is the age of these crew members is incorrect. They can't exist because they're not 15 years old, so they're not offspring. And they're not the original crew members because otherwise they'd look like Khan.
Yeah, because Khan looks like he's the only old man in the group, and that wasn't the case back in the day.
Doesn't work.
They could have had something like maybe one of those worms tried to take him over and it aged him somehow, or I don't. You know what I mean? Like something happened, he got sick or whatever, or something. When the planet.
Yeah, but they're all half of his. They're all like half his age. So like he's 61, and he's 61 here. Ricardo Montalban. Yeah. Judson Sky, I believe, is like I think he's like 30 at this point. And I think these other guys are like in their 20s. Like they're all I think they were all models that they just hired.
That's the other reason why I think, Mags, why they don't interact is if they had a bunch of speaking lines, they'd have to pay them much more.
Oh, yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that's true.
It's part of
it. And we come to
this. But that's just my little tiny criticism there. Because I think it would have added more world building, I guess, if that makes sense, or characterization. But anyway.
And now their reliance is, they're saying they're sending a message that their comm system is down. And Jim's like, this is just damned irregular. And then Savick says, talking about actual regulations, and they're supposed to be raising shields. And Jim's like, it's fine. It'll be fine.
And I like how Spock reacts to it. He's like Lieutenant. The
Admiral is quite aware of the regulations.
Well, I love the fact that in this case, probably if they put Savick here in modern era, she'd be a Karen and annoying and a bitch about it. But the fact that this works for her character in this particular movie is that first of all, she is Vulcan. And second of all, I mean, she's young and she's trying to follow regulations and understand, following protocol. And it's like, here are these older, wiser, more experienced guys on deck who can have a little flexibility with it, but she's not, she doesn't understand it because she doesn't have the experience like they do. So I like that she's not annoying, but it's kind of like, that makes sense for her character.
It's believable. Like her it's believable.
She doesn't just raise the shields. Well, I'm going to raise the shields anyway. Click. And she saves the ship.
And she's trying to learn from their wise experience. Yeah, their experience as well as to why they're choosing not to. So
the other thing is that she wasn't wrong. If they would have raised the shields, they would have been fine. Potentially.
Yep.
That's why, they still.
But she never rubs it in or anything. It's more like she learns from it.
They couldn't help themselves if it was modern. Oh my!
Fuck no!
Yeah.
Like if you, I love this. I love this delivery of Ricardo Montalban. It's like this is like the culmination of 15 years of just wanting of just living for this moment. And he just blows up fire.
You know what I love about this is that it kind of takes a callback to a lot of like old Hollywood ship battles, where you'd see them on the sets or whatever, and they would like a pirate ship or whatever, they would disguise themselves, they would come up against another ship and then surprise attack. So I love it's like a naval ship battle feel.
Yeah, it's like a pirate battle.
Yes.
Oh, it's great. It's so juicy.
This was modeled, all of Star Trek was modeled. He used Horatio Hornblower as his that was his guidebook when he built this. And it's not unlike, oh shit. Give me one moment. I made a terrible mistake. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm about to get yelled at.
What's funny is Meyer was a big fan of Horatio Hornblower, and he did that's why I went the nautical direction with this. But the thing that he wasn't aware of was that Roddenberry based Captain Kirk off of Horatio Hornblower in the original series, and Liam Shatner based his performance off of who played Horatio Hornblower, Gregory Peck or something in the old movie, which is a movie I still have to see. I don't
remember. I remember the BBC AMC series.
I'll look it up.
The more recent one, which is
I need to.
Oh my God! It is
with Horatio Hornblower.
Good, so good. But you do see the comparisons when you watch Horatio Hornblower.
It is Gregory Peck, by the way.
Okay.
Again,
so it was Baron Orman Tag told me that. Okay, that's how I knew that. Okay, nice.
You see in the poor engineering guys getting blown up.
Yeah, and what's funny is they use this in like TNG. Like they use whenever they get into a serious attack, and the door goes down. Geordi has to roll under it. I mean, we see that here for the first time with the door going down and everybody's fleeing.
And this is another nautical scenery where we're seeing the engine room damage. We're seeing crew members rush about doing what they need to do. Yep. They capture the feel of actual nautical warfare, nautical vessels. Again, with the new movies, can't do this. They have no clue what they're doing. They just have a CGI person make a bunch of spaceships flying around.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reveal for Kirk.
You still remember.
I love how the way Kirk stands up too, and he's like, "Oh,
yes, genuinely, oh, fuck."
You still remember, Admiral.
Does everyone notice Khan's medallion there?
Yep, it's the old. Yeah. It's an old. Yep, right there.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Probably from his beloved wife.
It's almost like something won in a battle.
I mean, look at the face.
Again, we talk.
It's too bad they never had a scene. It's too bad they never had a scene together in this movie. That's the one thing I wish they would have had. But the fact is, the movie was still good despite that. That's what makes this movie so freaking great.
Well, they do get dialogue, which is good. But William Shatner, people like to make fun of his acting, but in this movie and in that episode, again, that was one of his best acted episodes. His acting in this film is just superb.
I agree. Totally agree.
I mean, you get every emotion, and he doesn't overdo it in this.
No,
he's very believable in this film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely exudes the admiral type character because he's supposed to be reserved and let other the Captain Spock take over and do whatever. But then he takes over in this instance, and it's just great.
And then when they're looking up Reliance prefix code, you have to learn why things work the way they do aboard a starship.
Wait, did
so
we
they
already
can drop our shields?
I love how Saavik is still curious. Like she's not quite understanding what their tactic is, but she's learned. But she's not berating them for like, why are we doing it this way? It's more
Reliance command.
It's really neat how she. I just love that character because they did it so well, and that she's young, she's inexperienced, but she still wants to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Learn.
I love his reaction. Yeah.
Quick question for everyone: has everyone seen Star Trek Continues with Vic Mignogna?
Yes,
Vic Mignogna?
Not yet.
Okay.
No,
if you go watch that, it should be considered canon. It's that good, and Vic and all the other people, they do a great job. But the whole idea of the prefix code comes from that series and gains a special monkeys looking character a promotion.
What?
Chekhov is the one that comes up with the whole idea of using a prefix code to.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, if you go watch it,
that series once.
So that series explains Chekhov's promotion.
Promotion first to lieutenant. Yes.
Well, now remember that series also was filmed after this. Of course.
Oh yeah, but still, it's a.
No, but
considering everything, it's a great series.
They do a fucking amazing job continuity-wise with Star Trek Continues. I thought
that's how it's supposed to be done.
That show was so good. I mean, it was just like watching Star Trek.
It's up there with the best of TOS, in my opinion.
I would agree. There were some hard-hitting episodes in Star Trek Continues. They dealt with some very serious issues. It was good. Very good.
There were a couple of good Star Trek fan series out there over the years.
And so in this scene, his expression, "Sir, our shields are dropping. Well, raise them."
I can't.
It's just like, oh no.
And then where's the override? The
override.
I like how it pans the control panel like an airplane.
Yes.
When he's like trying to find the stuff and it keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
But it definitely shows a visual of panic, because here's this plan of I finally got you, and then here now Kirk outsmarts him, and now he's been caught with his pants down,
Yes. Well, because he didn't know about the prefix code.
Even with
so you have superior intelligence versus experience.
Yep.
Well, even with the shields down, having the phaser power be coming just from the battery packs as opposed to being charged from the warp core from a main power system, it doesn't do nearly as much damage as was done to them, but it did enough to get Khan off them for a while. And I looked up the crew size of the Reliant. To standard crew size is 210, so it's technically classified as a destroyer type of vessel.
Okay. So it's slightly less. It's about 100 or so less.
About half.
I wonder what I looked up then, because it was talking about the Miranda class, which is I looked up Reliant Miranda class and it said it was 28 to 36 crew. So not really sure.
It could probably run with just that many people at one time, or a base skeleton crew, but for the most efficient, it probably should have, for a continual 3-shift or even a 4-shift. Yeah, you got to have about 50.
Including like scientists and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, being a destroyer class of ship, I don't think it would have near the scientific setup that a Constitution class would have.
Yeah, because it's not designed for that. It's although it was out there doing the mission for basically there was planet scouting though for the Genesis mission, which that they that's not anything crazy. Their own sensors were able to figure out what they needed for that mission. This scene is also a bit of a gut punch. Although Scotty, I don't know why he decided he needed to bring him up to the bridge instead of just going right to sickbay. That was kind of a miscalculation, but it did make an impact.
Yep. Well, because up on the bridge, they're getting hit, but they're not getting as severely injured as everybody else. And then
still, just taking him up there was not.
Yeah.
I made
a good maneuver.
I made the same notes. That's purely for
back on.
It's purely for shock.
Yeah.
Yes, Starbase. So.
Can I make a comment though? Go back to that scene just now. Not that scene. The next scene.
Starbase.
I love the look of space in general, space and the space stations and the ships and the planets. This is just gorgeous. This is 1982, people.
Oh, it was their practical effects were fucking gold. They were so much better than any of the CGI.
This looks so real and lived in, and it's so much detail, and it's just it's beautiful. I'm sorry. I had to make a comment about it.
The opening of Wrath of Khan is my favorite Starfield shot. That rotating effect, that rotating shot in the beginning. Yeah. Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
I know you skipped, but I liked how they're about to go on board, and Spock is like,
yes.
Spock is like, Jim, be careful, and McCoy's like,
We will.
Also, Saavik makes up a regulation because she wants to go with them.
Well, I thought Shatner or Kirk was trying to gaslight her.
No, she made up a regulation. No flag officer will beam aboard a potentially hostile area without whatever. And he's like, "There's no such regulation."
She comments,
fine, you can be part of the party.
She gives him the look of, "Wait a minute, you didn't heed my suggestion to begin with."
So now she's learning from experience.
She's learning from them. Exactly.
Yep. Just make some shit up, which Jim did all the time. What I like, so they were trying to get a hold of Regula, and they're getting no response. And what I like about this shot is it looks like a space station with nobody home.
Yep.
It looks like, the lights are off. Someone's,
it's
where
very
is
devoid.
Yeah. Looks like
they decide they're going to go over.
Looks like something out of a Metroid game.
This was a tense scene when they beamed over there.
This is like
another straight
horror elements in this. There's a lot of horror in this part of the movie. Like you're seeing rats on the ground.
Yeah.
You're hearing this tense music. Then there's a jump scare. There's literally a jump scare when McCoy turns around. There's a body hanging.
It's so funny because I was waiting for that scene. I was like, "Here it comes! It's coming! It's coming! It's coming!"
It almost has a feeling it could totally be like an alien's xenomorph crawling around.
Yes.
I mean, it's the very first episode of Star Trek, the original series that aired, was a horror episode, The Man Trap. It was basically a slasher episode with assault stalking thing. So yeah. And so, to me, this is just a callback to, its roots, Star Trek's roots. There's horror. There were horror elements of even this. So, not as widely as Doctor Who, though, but that's a whole nother can of worms.
Don't get me started. So Bones is like, this didn't happen that long ago. Riga hasn't said any yet, which is, pulling out fun science there. Because, unless people don't know what the hell rigor mortis is. So I didn't know when I first saw this. I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
That's one of the things I like about watching these 80s movies. And I've said this on multiple occasions. Like if you're a kid, you're pretty cool with what you're seeing, but when you're an adult and you're listening to what the adults are saying in the movie, you get something else out of it. You learn something.
Yeah, I like the detail of was it Sadako? I can't read it from over here, but I like that he made a comment. He or she made a comment of the blood pools on the floor, and that makes it feel so much more realistic too in this scene. Like this is just a horror situation.
Pools of blood under the bodies. Sounds very Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Well, you could see the blood in that one shot.
It's under whomever
under him.
Mr. Ropey is.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and when he lets right here when he lets them out of the container, you know what Kirk did? You know what Kirk did in a callback to Space Seed? And this is something we've when I'm doing the Peripheral episode, we always comment about it. He breaks some glass. Remember how he broke the glass?
He did. Yeah, he just punches the little thing.
He just punches it. In Space Seed, he breaks the glass to free Khan. So in here, he breaks the glass to free them.
He's trying to hit the code. It's not fucking working.
That's a really interesting callback. Good job. I like that.
Yeah, I just thought of it. Believe it or not.
It's amazing when you're like you watch the movie, you watch the show, but then as soon as you go through something like this in this manner, it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And here he tortured those people. He blames you for the death of his wife. I know what he blames you for.
He put creatures in our bodies to control our minds. Like, that's okay. So it's like I was like, do they believe him? No, they don't believe
Captain Terrell was brave.
But we beat him.
Look at how Terrell has like 1,000-yard stare.
He does.
I know.
Look at McCoy's look behind him, though.
McCoy's like,
he's like
everybody's got such a great look, except Saavik looks like she may be having some gas.
She's like, these men are way too emotional. What the hell?
And this scene was also great. Where are we going?
Where they went.
What if they went nowhere?
Nowhere. Well, then
you know what I love
big
about
chance to get away from it all.
We didn't talk about this, but I love these uniforms too. These landing party.
The jackets. Yeah.
The jackets. I love these jackets. It is so completely 80s. And I love the fact too. They don't have it in this scene, but when Kirk opens up a door at one point, his collar is popped, and I'm just like, oh, that's so 80s. I love it.
Yeah, I
all they use now.
I want this jacket.
All they use now for freaking New Trek, they love their long leather trench coats. I'm like, why do they keep using leather trench coats?
It's because
unimaginative people.
The Federation are Nazis from World War II. Don't you know that?
That's true.
Oh Lord,
I did not.
Before I get canceled, so they beam down to I think is it Regula 1 is the planet.
I think it's just Regula.
Regula.
The moon or the asteroid body that it's orbiting.
I may be wrong.
And they're looking around, what the fuck. And then of course the first thing David does when he meets his father is he gets in a fight with him. It's so real to life.
It's like he just like he wasn't in the frame, then all of a sudden he is in the frame. Movie magic.
Yeah, it's like he just bursts out there, and they get into their fist fight, and then Carol's like, David, you're only making this worse. And then
it's kind of true.
It's even harder than you think. Please, nobody move.
Chekhov.
And
I'm sorry, Admiral.
Oh, it's just so heart-wrenching. And so Khan orders them to kill them. He beams up Genesis, and Terrell rips the thing, like whatever his comm device is out, and he's just not having a good time of it. But he's still got the thing in his ear, so he's all fucked up. And kill them, Captain Terrell. Terrell's is like, fuck this, and he fucking vaporizes himself. And that scream, though, you talked about
scream, like they've never done that again. Like,
oh.
Yeah, it's so
terrible.
It is, yeah, and that I feel that this was the right way to go about it. To like, this is horrifying. Just the fact of vaporizing somebody with a ray gun is horrifying.
Yeah,
I'm glad they made me feel that way. It's unsettling.
It is very yeah. He'd much rather go not hurting any more people.
And then Chekhov has a similar dilemma. The critter's like, you know what? I'm out of here. You're not working with me. And so it pops out.
Good thing he didn't have a weapon in his hand, or did he? Actually, he did.
No, he did. He just didn't. But the bug worked its way out. It was fine. And this is such a fun scene. This is the exchange between Kirk and.
Oh yes, I love this.
Do your own.
This is probably the most.
The target.
This is probably the most memorable part of the entire movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where he says the line.
I've done far worse than kill you.
Oh, and look at the face.
You. Yeah, he is
buried
hurting you. He's relishing it. He is loving every second of this.
Buried alive.
God. And it echoes.
And I love his expression. Like William Shatner's expression and emotion in this is just perfect because he's just pissed off at this point. He's done.
Well, here's the thing: he wasn't really pissed off. He was fooling Khan. He was fooling Khan into thinking they were marooned there to get Khan.
I don't know. I don't know
about that was after the fact. I think.
No.
Well, if you remember,
they were doing the
open communication between him and Spock, where they're talking about
right.
Where they're talking about all that. And of course, he was listening in. So
was that after?
No, that was before. That was when Terrell and Chekhov were still like under his control.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I completely missed.
That's way back.
They knew that they were being monitored, so that's why they did that, and that's why Kirk, screamed at Khan to come down there. He's like, "No, I'm going to leave you."
He could also be pissed off. pissed off equally too, because it's just
I mean, maybe.
He's like a annoying bee that wants to keep stinging you. So it's
I mean, maybe, but I think this was just acting. This was just acting.
I don't know that it was just a ruse. I think he was genuinely pissed. I think he would have loved it if Khan had come down there.
Yeah.
I do, but alas, it was not to be. And then they kick the kids out, and the grown-ups have a discussion about, I stayed away. I did what you wanted. The unfortunate relationship fallout or whatever happened. You were off gallivanting around the galaxy, and I wanted him in my world, blah, 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 blah. Woman talk.
And they talk, and he kind of really truly reveals, he doesn't even fully reveal why he feels that way to McCoy, but he reveals to her how he feels.
I think that good line, I've got a man out there I haven't seen in 15 years who's trying to kill me. You've shown me a son who'd be glad to help him.
Yeah. I think that's a great characterization of Kirk and where his mind is at the moment, because it is a stressful moment here. You've got your ship that's kind of, very, very beat up. He's lost a lot of his crew members. He's already seen a lot of death, and he's seen a lot of death in the science space station. And it's just, I wouldn't say, he can't handle it. It's just a lot going on. It's like, it's a bad day.
And the reveal of the Genesis cave.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It almost looks CGI, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
In a way.
It looks like something out of a video game.
But isn't this a little bit where they did some of the movie magic where it's like a painting, but then they kind of, I forgot how, if you know what I'm talking about.
You know what the waterfall reminds me of? If you ever went to a bar in the 70s and it had that like shivery,
I wasn't born yet, Shieldwall.
Water thing.
Whatever.
Well,
I wasn't born yet either. Jeez.
But they were big. It was like a Coors Light thing, and it was like a light, and it had like a rotating thing behind it, so it made it look like the water was moving, and it was blue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Now we go back to space, and Khan's looking for Enterprise because he thinks where they're supposed to be based on the communication.
Where
and
is she?
She's not there. And now we get the Kobayashi Maru discussion about what Kirk did. Reprogram the test so that it was possible to rescue the ship.
The only man
who cheated. I changed the conditions of the test.
I don't believe.
Got a commendation for original thinking.
Yep.
I don't like to lose.
Yep.
Don't believe in the no-win scenario.
Yeah, yep. And Spock, it's been 2 hours. Are you ready?
Yep. He's eating the apple. Do you think that's why they put the dumb apple gag in frickin' 2009?
Oh yeah, of course that's why they did it.
Yeah,
because Jar Jar is the cinematic Antichrist, and he's an idiot.
Eating the apple on the
man, he's like
Brandon.
Well, that's not my original name for him, but it is an accurate descriptor. Darth Jar Jar, J.J. Abrams, the cinematic Antichrist, and his devil spawn, Alex Kurtzman of Secret Hideout.
There's always two.
So. There are always two? There are.
Now there are three.
Oh, but believe me, Jar Jar's minions are everywhere and in everything. It's annoying.
Oh, they are. It's a nightmare. So they beam back to Enterprise. Kirk goes over the regulation, whatever the regulation is. No uncoded transmissions while they're being monitored. And then she turns to Spock. She's like, "You lied." He's like,
"I exaggerated." And then I love how
how bad is it?
He does the eyebrow raise too. It's like, I exaggerated. Like,
yeah.
Like, no.
I think this was also done by ILM, right here. This.
Yeah, it was done by ILM.
I love this. I love this 80s look.
And actually,
I do too. I like the displays.
Actually, there is one thing that is known but not typically talked about. The CGI stuff that was done by Pixar.
Really?
That's true.
Yeah, the whole moon
ILM.
Yeah, the whole Genesis effect 3D shot, that was all done by them. That was one of their first jobs outside of everything else they did. That was one of their first.
That is interesting. Nice. I did not know that.
Yeah, the Pixar. Pixar was part of ILM to begin with. That's right. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So Enterprise pops out, and then
that's the first all CG think you mentioned it before, Nerdporeal. That was the first all CG scene in any movie in this movie.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Matt with the deep knowledge.
I think Nerdporeal was talking about it before, but then we mentioned Pixar and the tie-in and all that. So, yeah.
So, and then Khan sees her, what is it? Not so badly injured as I was, or not so badly damaged as we were led to believe. So much the better. So much the better.
Yeah.
So I have a,
and this is where Kirk starts poking him, though. No, go ahead.
We had it your way, Khan. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah. So I have a question. So when they had his ship disabled, and why didn't they just launch shuttles? Those have phasers on them and finish them off with the shuttles. That's what I would have done.
Because the movie would have been over.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Shuttles at this time didn't have weaponry.
They didn't.
Did not.
In the 23rd century, no, I guess not. I don't even think.
Yeah, most of them typically don't have weapons on them. You got to go up to a runabout class to typically get a weapon of any type of
that was 24th
efficacy.
Century. You have to get that was like DS9 in 24th
plus I would
century.
Split up the crew, especially with your ship also getting damaged. I wouldn't want to split up the crew to.
You just put one person in it and you fly it over there and shoot them with a phaser and game over. I don't know. This is what maybe I played too much Star Trek Online.
Okay, so we're not warp capable.
You like to do no win. You don't like doing no win scenarios.
I'm just saying, and you can get shuttles that you launch in the game that help you fight.
That's the game. That's not canon.
I know. Well,
some games are canon.
But it got me thinking. I didn't know that the shuttles didn't have weapons. So if they would have had phasers on them, it would have been, an idea. Anyway, it was just a thought.
It's interesting. I don't know if I could have dealt with the telepathic Khan, but this is the scene where Kirk starts poking him. And I love that because Kirk's going into the nebula and Khan's helmsman, whatever his name is, a young man with blonde hair, is like, sir, we can't follow them into the nebula. Our, systems would be useless.
Yeah.
And Khan just kind of sits back for a second. Then Kirk's like, I'm going to fuck with him. Watch this. Khan, we tried doing it once your way. And then how about mine? And then I'm laughing at the superior intellect. And that was it. That's all he needed.
Power. Yeah, it was just like when Kirk says in Space Seed, you left. Why? You were afraid? Yeah, left at the very time mankind needed courage, and that's what got Khan. Yeah. That's what
we offered them order.
And it's something similar here, but this time it just required, an action instead of, him saying something. He just responded and by
out of the way and
full impulse power. And I like how Kirk's like, I give him this much. He's consistent.
I love the Motara Nebula. I love the look of this scene so much.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just very...
It's weird, but I love it. I don't know why I love it so much.
It's very pretty looking.
Visually pleasing.
Yeah. Well, it's
too bad the Mutara Nebula becomes the Genesis planet and there's nothing left. Sorry.
And then she's wondering why we're doing this, and then Spock explains it.
Gotten all of it.
Sauce for the goose, Mr. Savick. The odds will be even.
What does that mean? Sauce for the goose. What does that mean?
It means sauce for the goose, sauce for the gander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I thought it was like, it's gonna taste better. I don't know.
It just means what's good for you is good for me. Fair turnabout is fair play. They all kind of mean the same thing.
And now they're in the nebula. They can't see fuck all. So they're just riding blindly. I don't know why David's on the fucking bridge at this point, but whatever. Riding blindly in the nebula. With his fucking sweater tied like that.
Yeah. He's like he's gonna go play tennis or something.
Roman threw me off. It's so funny. I'm sitting there like blah blah blah. I don't know what the fuck he's doing there. I don't know why it's so funny. It's great.
Oh, hey, Cajun Corey's out there. It's good to see you, man.
Oh my god.
So fucking David's on the bridge with his fucking sweater, and they're riding blind, and it's a slow scene. It's another tense scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just
this part right
they're
here
going right at each other.
This part with the flashing right here. It's so like this was like pretty much the true final menacing moment of the movie.
And then Khan lets loose some fire, and then shit blows up again because shit's gonna blow up.
This is very typical of kind of naval warfare too. I mean, like sneaking up on each other, and then I mean they don't have the similar blindness.
This must have been. I'm sorry. That's Reliant's taking fire. I apologize.
Yep. Reliant, they both took fire. So
yeah, because
a piece of rubble lands on Joaquin and Khan's picking it up. Khan's really picking up the rubble.
That's right. Yeah, this is Khan's bridge. It's blowing up. But Enterprise took another hit to her engineering section, which is why the warp drive was fucked up.
Yeah.
And then we get this scene where he's dying.
He's like, yours is superior, and then he dies.
Yep.
And he's like, I shall avenge you.
I shall avenge you.
If he really wanted to,
blows off their fucking one of their port nacelle.
I think that was.
That's way later on.
That was later when they finally did when Kirk did his final 3-dimensional attack. Yeah, because when he does that 3-dimensional attack, they destroy the nacelle, and Khan gets hit by a blast. That's why half his
because Kirk is his patterns
2-dimensional thinking.
2-dimensional thinking, and then
so I think they
D minus 1,000 whatever or something.
So
like that.
I was going to ask you, Roman, does that basically mean that they literally?
So they're going down.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Z-axis in the 3D. So that's the up and down. So left, right, tilt, up, down. Yeah, they dropped 10,000 meters or however.
I always thought Y was. I mean, Y has always been the vertical axis for every with my experience.
XY is the plane, and Z is the vertical.
Yep.
And don't they shoot a photon torpedo?
Yes.
Now, what's that little handle?
That's what blows up in the cell.
And Chekhov it looks like a brake handle or something. I was like,
it's a little thing with a button on it.
I know it was for dramatic effect, is why they did it. But
you know why? But you know why they did that is because all the shit that Khan did to Chekhov. This was Chekhov. This was paying off Chekhov.
Chekhov's
revenge, so to speak.
Which also sounds like a disease you might pick up in Yugoslavia. Chekhov's revenge.
And he takes out his photon torpedo launcher too by doing that, because I think it hits that.
Yeah, the first the first strike took out the torpedo. Second strike with the phasers hit the bridge area again. Second torpedo, third attack takes out the left or the port nacelle.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
which was a really cool scene because that thing just blows up and flies off into space.
Yeah,
it was just the effects were just so good in this scene.
I like how it trails like sparkly.
Oh yeah, the shit. Yep.
Yeah, antimatter or whatever it is. Yeah,
it's not just a clean thing. It's still residual energy. Fucking.
It's almost like showing that the ship is bleeding and it's like literally dying. Yeah. It's like
yeah.
And then Kirk radios to beam aboard survivors, and Khan's like, "Fuck off." And then he starts monologuing because
because he's got a monologue.
Yeah, straight from.
And he's setting up Genesis to detonate while he's monologuing, and this is his great Moby Dick monologue.
Mm-hmm.
And how great is this practical device?
The device, yeah. Presses the button that sucks in.
Even as a kid, the machining on that just intrigued me. How they must have made that on a lathe or something.
It works really well. It's so smooth, and they all match so well.
Yeah, the tolerances are really tight.
Right.
So Genesis fucking starting to go all nuclear.
Yeah.
Nuclear.
And then they've been radioing down to engineering, and everything's fucked up. They can't get the mains online, and Spock goes down there, of course, because he's Spock. And McCoy's like, "You're not going in there. You'll die." Perhaps you're right, Doctor. And then
What is the status of Mr. Scott? I'm sorry, Doctor, but I don't have the time to discuss this logically with you.
Remember. Now this was added. This was.
I was going to say this had to have been a post scene.
Yeah, this was a post scene because they wanted. They're already thinking ahead. They're thinking they could be doing a sequel. So they had to give Nimoy like do something that could lead into a sequel, and he just did this.
Give him an out.
Give him an out. And so Spock goes in. This scene was shot very well. The shit that starts spewing out of here into Spock's face is just it's you. I mean, you feel that radiation coming.
Yeah,
you can tell the other actors are being dubbed. Like when Scotty and McCoy are talking, like they're not even moving. You can tell they're not even talking. Like they're just kind of standing there watching.
No, Spock!
No, Spock! No.
Yep.
And Kirk's like, we don't get warp speed in 2 minutes, and we're all dead. They get warp speed, and I don't remember if I captured the pictures right or not. And they're trying to get away slowly. They're on impulse, and Khan's like, "No,
you can't get away. The hell!"
And that's what he does.
Stab at thee.
Yes.
For hate's sake, I spit my last breath at thee.
And then he falls over.
Yeah.
And the mains come back online, and Sulu's like, "Hey, we've got power now, Sulu, go!" And
you know that Takei did not want to be in Wrath of Khan. It was actually
really
when from what I read. Now this is on Wikipedia, so I could be wrong because Wikipedia, for reasons. But according to that, it said Takei didn't want to come back, and Shatner got him to come back.
That's
interesting,
amazing. He should be grateful.
Yeah, I know he should be.
He's a whiny
money Takei has made with Star Trek. What a jerk.
He's a douche. Anyway, so Enterprise is getting the fuck out of there as Reliant is about to blow. And there goes, then Reliant goes. And I love the cloud, the cloud circles that basically follow Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Showing just how expansive this explosion was. And Kirk looks over and he says, "Great, great job, Mr. Scott." And Scotty, very emotional, he's like,
McCoy, actually. That was McCoy.
Oh, was it McCoy? Oh, that's right. Yeah, better get down here. Better hurry.
And then he sees the empty chair.
He looks over and Spock's empty chair. He's like, "Fuck off."
But this was a callback right here to Balance of Terror, where Spock was, where Styles and Tomlinson were in the engine room, were in the phaser room. And they're like, it's fire, Mr. Styles, fire, and nothing was going on.
Yeah,
and Spock had to run in and save them from the coolant leak. Now he's one of them passed away. Tomlinson, the guy that was supposed to get married in the beginning of that episode, passed away. So someone died. It wasn't Spock though. Here, which is interesting, is we know Mr. Spock is dying, and they keep cutting from Kirk going down, trying to get to him, to seeing the planet being born, seeing Genesis being born. So we're seeing something dying, and then they're cutting with something that's being born.
That new life,
that new life. It's it gets to me every time. And then the music
it's a very interesting juxtaposition.
The James Horner music that they're playing here now is so emotional. Now as an adult, now that I've I've dealt with death and everything, this scene gets me I was watching it earlier today. This scene gets me every time.
Yeah, it's one of the great scenes.
It is. It's just so well acted. Kirk rushes in there, and he wants to rush into, to save him. And Scotty, and he's like, he'll die. And Scotty's like, he's dead already.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, they originally were going to have McCoy or DeForest Kelley say he's dead, Jim, and DeForest Kelley was like, I'm not saying that line, because even at this point in the 80s, it was already that saying was already a joke.
Yeah. And this was not a joke.
One thing to take note of when Spock gets up and he's facing the wall, and he
straightens his jacket.
He straightens his uniform,
so he can meet
in the presence of the captain, the admiral.
Yeah,
the admiral.
He has dignity, and he wants to preserve his dignity, and it's just so true to his character.
Then he tries to walk out, and he hits the door.
Yeah,
because he can't see because of all the radiation.
That was to me, that was a callback to the original series episode, Operation Annihilate. There was an episode where Spock was affected by these parasites.
Oh, that's right. He was blinded.
Yeah, and he had, and like the only way to defeat these parasites was to expose them to ultraviolet light. Well, McCoy, without knowing this beforehand, exposed Spock to the entire spectrum of light, and it blinded him. And we get a very similar scene where we see Spock walking and he hits something, and then that's the big reveal that he is quite blind. But then again, the blindness was temporary because Vulcans have this inner eyelid, science fiction bullshit thing that the writers put in. So
you know what? I remember seeing that as a kid. I just remember that they had inner eyelids.
Yes,
because it's something to do with the Vulcan sun.
But that's just I just thought of that when you see him, walking into the glass. Same feel.
And this this scene, while it's great, my only small teeny tiny little criticism of this is that I would have expected, seeing this again after so long, I would expect a little hair loss or something to just have added effect, but that's just me. Everything else works because they even have it on his hand too. I do have a question now. You guys can give me a lot of shit for asking this, but couldn't they have just beamed him out of there?
I don't
probably
know.
not with the radiation.
With the radiation, it probably
because then would that be manifested into the?
Well, no, they would beam the radiation out with him. A, that's in his body.
Oh, that's true.
Which that's subatomic particles, and B, the damage is already done.
Yeah, that's true.
They couldn't have treated him. That's why I was wondering.
If they could have treated him, they would have got him out.
So in the chat here, we've got Shatner didn't know that Nimoy was coming back. And in another way, Nimoy told the director not to tell Shatner. So when he's doing this scene, he thinks this is the last time they're going to be on screen together as well.
Oh, I didn't know. I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
So you probably are getting a lot of genuine emotion in this scene. In the whole, ship out of danger. And then when he did the I have been and all, I have been and always shall be your friend line again, that just rips my heart out.
Yeah.
But it's the way Kirk reacts to it when he just says no and then he slumps over and he slumps, goes into a trance. I did something just like that when I found out somebody in my family died. I had the same exact reaction. So when I see that, I always, I'll tell you, Star Trek has some of the most emotional scenes I've ever seen in anything. Like I just put up a short of, remember the episode The Bonding from Next Generation, the one where Picard and Troy have to break news to a kid that his mother died.
Yeah,
and the kid's like, I
watched it.
The kid's like, I'm alone now. And every time I hear the kid say, I'm alone now, just makes me close my eyes and shed a few tears. So, and then when Picard says, on the Starship Enterprise, nobody's ever alone. That to me says like especially with the suicide recently of Jason David Frank of Power Rangers. That's what made me decide to put up that short that I just people who feel that way, they need to know that they're not alone, that they can reach out. And I mean, I know it has nothing to do with it, but that's how I felt. That was what was going on in my mind. So sorry to derail this conversation.
I got you, bud.
No, that's what happens.
Also, going back to scene with the crewmen that he said he stayed at his station. They take him to. We didn't show the pictures, but they take him to the sick bay, and the doctor's treating him. And Scotty's got a look on his face. Well, that actor, he was in World War II. He did like all kinds of crazy stuff. Got all these medals and whatever.
James Doohan?
Yeah, James Doohan.
He lost a finger.
Yeah.
He lost a finger. He was in D-Day.
Yeah, he was in D-Day, and then he went on to be like an artillery spotter pilot, and they called him like the craziest pilot. But anyway, so he saw that kind of stuff, and I felt like maybe the look on his face he was kind of reliving that a little bit. Because the guys laying there all burned up and stuff. Yeah, so that's a pretty powerful scene for me as well.
This scene, Spock's funeral scene, has actually gotten worse for me. Not in the sense that it's bad. Worse for me personally, since I've gotten older. One, because I've been to too many of these as a older military guy. That's just, it is part of the business, as they say. But it really hurt when Jim's doing his line, and you see it here. All the souls I've encountered in my travels, his was the most, and he breaks. His speech pattern breaks, and he has to pull it back together. Human.
You see the way his mouth moves. When he's trying to.
it's genuine emotion, and it's hard to see.
And this is how you do it. You don't just scream and cry like you do in modern entertainment. It does,
He's still the admiral. He still has to hold it together in front of his crew.
Right. He's still military in terms of stoicism, but it's such a great acting scene by William Shatner. I mean,
and it comes off as genuine. I totally agree.
It does very much so.
Yep.
Then they
not when people scream and cry,
and that line is definitely Kirk, a Kirk line. Yeah. That's perfectly Kirk.
Yes. So they shoot him, burial at sea, essentially, except in a photon tube, to Genesis.
By the way, one thing I noticed, have any of you seen the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the Donald Sutherland, Leonard Nimoy one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious if that was the same Amazing Grace bagpipes theme they used in this movie from that movie. I swear it was the exact same thing.
I thought it was really
bagpipes all kind of sound the same.
Yeah, I thought that was Scotty playing.
I thought it was like the actor James
actually playing.
Yeah, I thought it was him actually rocking that out.
Do you think go back to the planet scene real quick? Do you think this was symbolism in terms of, because the torpedo goes off to the left side of the planet there, and then the sun rises right in that exact same spot? Do you think that is some sort of symbolism for kind of like a foreshadowing of the next movie or something like that, or is that just kind of just a cool thing to have?
Well, in post-production, who knows what they may have thought about that in post-production and done that very intentionally.
I mean, they just had Spock's funeral, and they were showing as he was dying, the planet was being born. So now that they're laying him to rest, this planet, the light, I think, is to show, that life goes on because of Spock.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I thought the photon torpedo did that.
Yeah.
I was like,
they blew up the planet.
Yeah, I thought they were like, screw this planet.
Fuck you, planet. Well, you killed my friend.
That's funny is because that's what happens in the next movie. Which, I mean, I'll be honest, I get why people feel that way about the next movie. I still love the next movie, though.
I actually I like all three of them. Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. I even like the one with the fucking whales.
Hey, the whales are my favorite. Are my favorite ones.
That movie's hilarious. One of the funniest movies ever.
It's he does a good job with humor. Of course, they shit the bed with Star Trek V, but that's whatever. I'm fine with ending it with
berate you, and I say screw you.
I know.
Star Trek 4.
I mean, I know 4 is usually like a clunky type of movie, but I personally love it.
You like Italian? No.
It's just interesting.
Is he going to crawl around the bushes while we eat? Oh, you got me on a Star Trek 4 rant roll now.
It's kind of ironic.
His
Kirk
way.
Stayed away, like Carol said, for 15 years or whatever. Had he been around and taught his kid how to fight, he might not have been killed by a Klingon in the next film.
That's true. David's like a freaking pussy. It's no good. I still hate David. I hate David so much. I'm glad he died. So now they have.
Oh, come on.
I didn't. You just hate him because of that stupid sweater.
That fucking sweater, man. I'm never gonna get over that. So Kirk's like, they have their little discussion, and David's like, Safik was right. You've never faced death before. And Kirk's like, no, I've cheated my way out of death, patted myself on the back for my own, ingenuity.
But no, not like this. Death. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm proud, very proud. Oh, go.
I love this scene. This was a very, very, very emotional scene, right?
It actually is.
He witnessed his father in a major crisis, and he saved a bunch of lives.
He respected him. Yeah.
Yes.
But they ruined it with the next movie. They literally ruined this character with the next movie.
I mean, like my buddy said this, and he's not wrong. I still love Star Trek 3, but he's not wrong. Like, they undid this. They undid him having a son, and they undid Spock being dead. I mean, I would have been okay with them bringing Spock back, but I don't know if they. I mean, but it makes the movie very poignant. That Star Trek. It makes Star Trek 3 even more poignant when I watch it. Like, just realizing his son's gonna die, and he's gonna be.
They killed him. They just killed his son to give Kirk character motivation. Like, I think that.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Saavik could have kicked the Klingons' ass. We know this as fans.
She is stronger.
We've seen.
But there were two of them. I think there were two of them or something.
Spock killed one with a backhand. Don't you remember that? He backhanded one of the Klingons and just insta-killed him. That's how much stronger Vulcans are than Klingons. And she's trained as a fighter with Starfleet stuff. We've seen. There's no reason that. I mean, David, I can see getting into it, but she just sort of stands there. I mean, it was a preposterous.
But weren't they being held at gunpoint too? If I remember correctly.
If David can get into a
and
knife,
then one of them takes out a blade
and gotten into him too.
He's going to execute.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, they stabbed him in the back.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
Well, actually, you don't know who was going to get stabbed. They might have been going to stab Saavik, but David steps in. He actually does step up at the moment.
They were going to go for Saavik, and then David, saved their life. David got stabbed himself, and that was brutal.
The best thing though of one of the best thing though of the search for Spock is that Christopher Lloyd is a Klingon.
Give me Genesis.
He's like, yeah.
I mean, he was great as a Klingon.
He was.
He was very good as a Klingon.
He's running around, Marty. I mean,
joy.
And then we get the closeout scene, of Genesis.
Yeah.
How do you, Jim? How do you feel? I feel young. And then he's really not dead as long as we remember him.
And the other thing that pays off is from the beginning what Spock was trying to tell him. I feel far better thing than I've ever encountered, which is the end of the end of the Tale of Two Cities when Darnay is facing the guillotine. He's going to his death, and that's what's going through his mind, and that's kind of what I think Spock was thinking when he sacrificed himself in the radiation chamber.
So it's a nice end scene, and then we'd have to have something that is probably post-production again, where they have to show you that his photon tubes survived landing on Genesis.
Yeah, and they have Nimoy. They have Nimoy
do the outro,
man. The space, the final frontier. So it makes you wonder, like, is he coming back?
And that was, and again, I love hearing Nimoy do that. At the end of it, it was perfect.
By the time
it was a perfect ending to the film. And that's, my friends,
The Wrath of Khan.
Is Khan.
What was that, Matt? You said they were already filming Star Trek 3 by the time.
The rumors for Spock and Star Trek 3 had already been through all the fan magazines and stuff by the time Star Trek 2 came out.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So
I can find my old Starlog. Let's see if I can find it.
So that's it. And we'll go around with. I first I want to thank everybody for hanging in there tonight. This was a lot of fun getting to dissect, because we did some deep dive on both of these, and that was just fantastic. It did 3 hours is about what I thought it was going to be, because you don't get to do Space Seed and Wrath of Khan, and we probably went faster than we should have, but otherwise this becomes a even longer.
It'll be like an EFAP.
Yes, and then yes, and it's not good. We're now like a modern Marvel movie. So I wanted to thank everybody who was here tonight. Shieldwall and Matt and Daniel and Khan, who's Brandon the anime guy, Nerdporeal and Mags.
Hey,
so I thought you didn't know who that was.
I identified as Conporio.
I can't talk to you like this anymore. So thank you guys so much for being here, and let's go around the horn, and we'll just do a quick last thoughts and what you got coming up. We'll do a double wrap on this. So Shieldwall, since you're right next to me, we'll start with you.
All right. Great movie. Probably my favorite one out of all the Star Trek ones.
Yeah, agreed.
I really like it. And I don't have anything going on because I don't have a channel or anything. I really
you got
appreciate
something going on next week.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I appreciate Roman inviting me on the channel, and it's a real honor to be on a panel with so many great other people that have so much knowledge. And I learned a lot about this movie and just everything. So thank you.
Right on, brother. Unbearable 73. Matt, the man with the big brain.
I give this one 9.7 out of 10. Cons!
And that will be our new measurement system whenever we talk about a Star Trek episode.
So I saw this when I was a little, what was it, 82? Would have been 9 years old? 73, 82. I would have been 9 years old when this came out. And this one I actually saw in the theaters because my family kind of was all into. My uncle, we don't have time to show it, but maybe next time I have Star Trek blueprints from the 70s. My uncle, I inherited these from my uncle. One got me into Star Trek,
Nice.
Show this again real fast, Matt.
Stuff like that,
Matt, let's see the blueprints again real quick.
Well, this is the packet. These are blueprints for the actual.
Oh fuck, man!
Wow,
that's cool.
They actually drafted. Like I'll take one of them out so we can give a look.
Oh, nice.
Look, see. They lay out to a large.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh,
wow.
That's beautiful.
If you actually had a big table, you'd lay them out and you get like the ship's complement and stuff
you know
like
what?
That. I mean,
I bet Khan looked at something just like that.
If this is
that's official. That's not like fan made or anything.
This is an official Star Trek product from back then, right?
Okay.
This is not, however, like officially what you know what I mean. Like it's the way Star Trek canon works is if it's not, it's got to be in one of the shows or Star Trek the Animated Series or one of the movies. Anything else is called secondary canon or tertiary canon.
Wow. That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
So what else you got coming up, Matt? You usually got some stuff in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do a show and tell Star Trek thing one of these weeks. Yeah. Space Seed's one of my 5 favorite episodes. Also worth 9.7 or almost 10. Cons! There aren't not enough cons to go around how awesome an actor Ricardo Montalban is. I don't even speak Spanish, and I still watch some of his Spanish language movies. The dude has charisma. He knows how to act. He knows where to be,
and he knows how to get the ladies.
Well, yeah, that too. But
soft
and
simple.
What else can I say? I mean, yeah, obviously some stuff is a little hokey, like the maybe borderline rapey scene or whatever. Prior to
the borderline rapey scene. That's not so good.
When he grabs her hand and like pushes her down, and he's like pounding her with his ego, like you will do what I say, type thing.
Open your heart.
Open your heart.
Will you open your heart?
Will you open your heart?
But what else? I mean, there's so many things you could say how wonderful the episode was and how awesome the movie was. Okay, and when I was a little kid, I cried when Spock died. I cried when Peter Preston died. And I mean, I'm not going to go on about it because I could. What do I got going on? I'm doing Bleach reviews for the current season. I will probably do if I have time, I'll actually do a review, like a standalone review of the episode and the movie. Excuse me. Oh man,
you right?
My allergies have been getting worse as I get further into the winter. I live on some other planet. I live in the Star Trek bizarre the mirror universe.
Class K. You probably live on a Class K planet.
Yeah. So movies. That's pretty much it. And obviously whatever Roman and invites me on. And Nerdporeal, that we have to get back and finish Lord of Return of the King.
That's true. Movies. I keep forgetting to do. I keep forgetting to do that. Yeah. When did I do that last? May. June.
Yeah. Well, it only took us 2 months to do two towers, right? Like 6 straight Saturdays or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel. What do you got going on, and what do you think, bud?
Wanted to thank you for the opportunity to do this, and for anyone who has not watched Space Seed and Wrath of Khan back to back, it's a fantastic. As I had never done that before. I've seen them separately, but watching them back to back is very cool. It adds something to the movie. Not that the movie needs anything added to it. And it's, what can I say? It's fantastic. It's the #1 Star Trek movie, and Space Seed is one of the best. One thing that did occur to me that would be cool as a what if scenario, Spock came back to life. What if Khan had come back to life on the planet? Now that would have been cool. Imagine that.
Oh my gosh, a very young Khan.
A young Khan.
Oh God, young, healthy.
Suddenly, Mags is all excited.
Yeah, look at that. You know what pushes
buttons.
Ricardo
Montalbans that just keep regenerating.
We need the Ricardo Montalban version, not the English variety.
Cumber snatch.
Yeah, that was. I mean, he's an R-rated guy.
The magic blood.
Khan.
Yeah, that was dumb.
That was very
fucking
dumb.
Terrible. All right. And what do you got coming up, Daniel?
I have some ideas for some videos. It's making, I like to make my stuff outside, and it's so cold that I'm in like hibernation mode. So my incentive to go outside and make videos is very low right now. But we'll see what I can do. Maybe I can.
All right. When Daniel sees his shadow, he'll make some more videos.
Yeah.
All right. Brandon, the anime guy.
Yes. Well, got a video premiere tomorrow that I still got to go and edit and put together with Daniel. Actually, we've been reviewing Urusei Yatsura, and that has been I know you. Every time that I say an anime name, you get a strike. Yeah.
I just canceled my channel. Thank you.
But we've been reviewing that series, and by far she's waifu of the year for me, or at least top 2. But it's a great series, and of course, I've been reviewing My Hero Academia with Mags, and that's been a hell of a lot of fun. And get to see. It's nice to see some real action-orientated TV that pulls no punches and will yank at your heartstrings. And this Saturday is the start of Gundam Month. So for all you Gunpla builders and fans of the Gundam series, we're going to start off this month with Ironcaster and Punkwaddle, because they're both huge Gundam nerds.
And I got that where all my Gundam stuff is right there.
Yes, right, I can plainly see. There. I will have to have you on Nerdporeal. I'll have to have you come talk with me about some Gundam, because I know nothing about
Nerdporeal.
Yeah, the Nerdporeal.
Just don't call me Camille. That's a girl's name.
But it's going to be an education for me, because I don't know Gundam. I've never watched any of it, so I'm going into it completely blind.
Oh, you're gonna love Yoshiyuki Tomino anime. It's very, very dark. You know he's known for, right? He's known for being. Yeah,
I know that. So that's what he's known for. But we've got that, and then I'm working on something very huge and big for the 10th, and
oh my!
I'll go ahead and tell you. I'm having a guest return and a new guest join me on the same day. Andrew, Legal Mindset, will be joining me on the 10th, because he is a huge Gundam nut. And Lethal Lightning is scheduled to join us to talk about it. And I'm working on a possible third, but I don't have anything concrete yet. But
I think I have a guess. But
yeah, it's if it comes together, it's going to be a lot of fun. But I thought, this would be a good month to do Gundam stuff, something out of the ordinary for Christmas. And of course, continue to do the reviews and everything. Blaine will be back from Japan this next week, so we'll get back into a dissecting Chainsaw Man, which I guess keeps getting better, but I'm not sure if it's getting better. And then, of course, Spy Family is just so damn cute.
I got to ask you, are you going to start with UC, Universal Century Gundam?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I'll start with Universal Century.
There's a lot of it. Just warning you, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, so this month is booked solid, and at the end of the month, the 31st, is technically the 1-year anniversary mark for the channel. So I'm going to be having a New Year's Eve / 1 year / we're going to blow this shit up stream. So, of course, everyone's invited, and I'll have the link out there for whoever wants to come in, say hi. And of course, we're going to watch video clips and all that, do all the things that the YouTube says naughty, but what the hell, we're going to do it anyways.
Nice.
Don't show Godzilla, man.
No Godzilla, no Toho.
They get real pissed off about Godzilla.
Yeah, they get pretty. Toho gets pretty bent out of shape about it, but then so does Toei and
Toei. I've heard horror stories about Toei too. So
not good. All right, Nerdporeal, what's happening with you, brother, and what'd you think?
Well, I love Space Seed. It's the very first episode I ever owned of the original series. I mean, Just the fact that I bought a pop figure of Khan from Space Seed, and I
fucking love that figure.
I don't buy toys or dolls or something because
hey, motherfucker,
because I'm normal.
Hey, those are action figures. They're not dolls. It's all good.
And we won't be seeing Nerdporeal again, boys and girls, but enjoy him while he lasts.
He got conned.
Oh,
got conned.
God damn it!
I don't think cringe is a big enough word for how I feel right now. Thanks, Mags. But yeah, like I love Spacey. It's my #1 episode. I give that episode 10 Nerdporeals out of 10, or if you want to be technical, 9.9 Conporeals out of 10. So, and Wrath of Khan is all around classic. It's the movie I first watched that really started my Star Trek journey. But I think it was really Star Trek 3 that really cemented me to this crew because of the fact that the other characters had way more to do than this movie. But in terms of just cinema and just in terms of quality storytelling, Wrath of Khan's a better movie. How do I know this? Because Seinfeld told me. Seinfeld said Wrath of Khan is the better between that and Search for Spock. And so, but I love, but yeah, so it's probably the #1 movie, followed closely by Star Trek 6. It's my second favorite movie of them all.
Really?
The original 6, yeah. The original 6.
Nicholas Meyer did a better job recovering with Star Trek 6.
Yeah. The original 6 are my favorites before, the TNG films.
I only like one of them, and that's First Contact. All the other ones I fucking hate.
Same here. First Contact is great. But
I liked Insurrection. I thought it was fun. I thought Insurrection. I was 14 when that came out. I thought it was the coolest thing that ever came out.
Fucking 14, dear God. I'd become a grandfather.
98, I was 14. So
I'm joking. I'm kind of joking. I am that old though.
kind of.
But what's going on with me next? Well, I'm actually going to be on another stream right after this. Me and Prophet of the Dragon, and I'm wearing his shirt right now.
Oh, I need to get one.
Great.
I'm so how I felt, putting on the shirt. I felt powerful. I felt like I felt like I might be the true dragon. Like I might be the one.
Can I feel that way? Is there a way I can get that shirt? Is there a way for other people to get that shirt too?
Yes, selling merch.
Yeah, you gotta go on, you have to just buy it. I just bought it.
There's probably a link on his channel, Daniel. So
yeah, it's in his banner. It says buy Prophet's merch. There's also Nerdporeal merch too. There's a Nerdporeal flamethrower shirt. Does
YouTube get a cut when people put under their banner now and that special merch spot? Does YouTube get
not really? No.
So.
Teespring or whoever you're doing with gets all the money, and then whatever you charge.
That shit's expensive to do.
I put it in the private chat, Daniel.
Oh, nice.
That doesn't help. I was trying to get other people to go to.
I have one
go to
right here.
Buy your shit
just in case you're interested.
Well, drop it in there. Drop it in there. Drop it in the chat.
You got conned.
Buy their shit. That's what they're asking you to do there, kids. And tell Steve to fuck off because he avoided me today. So
I will tell him that. So
it's my internet nemesis. He is my con.
He is your con. All right. I think he said that about you too. So
I know.
But yeah, thanks Roman. Thanks for having me on. I love talking.
Dude.
Love talking Star Trek. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm the smartest Star Trek person here, but because I don't want to I don't want it to get to my head and everything. But thanks for having me.
This was.
I'm kidding.
So
no, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Right. There's always stuff to learn. So, but I really appreciate you having me on.
Fucking weirdo. All right, Mags.
Hi, thank you for having me, Roman. Actually, this has been really enjoyable and wonderful to go down memory lane. I've always been in the chats about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and everything else, and actually going back to something like this. Bye, Brian. Going back to watching Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. it really brought back so many memories. It has been a long time since I've actually watched anything that has any kind of reference to the original Star Trek in a while. And it was really a breath of fresh air for me, because I'm just like, the episode and then following it up with the movie itself was just, I haven't been that giddy in a long time, and it was just fantastic. So thank you for that opportunity. I feel so much better today.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And and now I'm like, you know what? I might just watch the next couple movies.
Well, for those of you who hung around and not Nerdporeal because he fucking left, no, we'll probably do Star Trek 3 in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to come back, hit me up with a DM or just let me know. Yeah, you want to come back, or we can talk Star Trek 3. This week coming up, we'll probably be doing Christmas shit. I'm not going to phrase it like that in the ads, but that's what we're probably going to be doing
next on Roman show. Christmas shit.
Christmas shit. Ho ho ho, motherfuckers!
I don't deal with the Christmas crap.
So, like I said,
no, I get you there. I get it.
Not this week, not this Thursday coming up, but the following Thursday, I will look at Star Trek 3 as a follow-up to this. So, like I said, if you guys are interested, let me know, and I'll schedule you. If it's too far out or whatever, that's fine too.
Okay.
But just something to think about.
It's just it was just so much fun, because I'm just like watching it and I'm just like, man, like just kind of revisiting it. It's like, man, the acting is so good, the dialogue is so good. All the characterizations, the ship designs, the galaxy itself, and then also the music. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to really talk about the music, and it's just it all
yes,
it was all just
scene music.
Yes,
awesome.
Yeah, and it's like it was all fantastic, and it just thank you, Roman. It was such a great thing to do, and really fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was great having you on the panel.
Thank you. As far as things coming up, probably people saw my Twitter. I'm probably going to be kind of taking a step back. I'm getting a little burned out. And plus, with the rest of the year for me as an accountant, it's a little rough to be everywhere all at once. But I will definitely still be around. I will be in smaller chats, because I just can't handle all the bigger stuff now. Because you have to really pay attention to the chat at that point. I mean, not that I don't pay attention, but it's a little easier with smaller chats. So you might see me pop in every once in a while. I'm listening. I will be stalking people, and I will be listening in. So I will be there. But I do have other obligations that I've committed to, like with Brandon, doing My Hero Academia review. And we like to do that on Sundays for it to come out on Mondays. For My Hero Academia Mondays. Sometimes you might catch me on Zaxx's channel on Wednesday nights, and wherever anyone else wants me around, that's fine. I would love to do this again, Roman, in 2 weeks. I have to make sure that I don't have anything going on that day.
Okay.
But I would love to continue this, because this has been fun. Because actually reviewing something that we like, right?
Well, no, it's so much better than things we hate. For instance, Willow. We'll talk about that some other time.
Oh man, I saw your comment in the chat.
No,
it was so bad.
All we have to say about that is don't watch it. Go buy the original and don't bother with any of this crap. There you go.
Not good. Not good. Not good.
Just remember, Duck Fisney.
It's not. It's just effing terrible.
So thank you, Roman. I appreciate. I was just saying thank you, Roman. Thank you, everybody, for letting me ramble. And I'm not as deep in the lore either as others are, and who have the better trivia. But I just, I wouldn't call myself a Trekkie fan, but I grew up on both Star Trek and Star Wars, and that was my childhood. So growing up with my two older brothers, and it's
very solid.
Yeah,
all the different questions and what ifs and stuff. That's what makes this stream so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Different perspectives.
Yep.
Perspective.
So thank you.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, chat, thank you for hanging in there. Everybody who stuck with us, or the ones who are watching it on a rewatch right now, thank you for doing that. This is Roman of the Empire for solving the world's problems. Signing off. Be kind. Bye.